Hello, listening people.
Hello.
You're listening to Spit and Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. I am one of the hosts, Ryan Sliwinski.
And I am Bartek.
Hello, Bartek. How are you?
Good.
I'm very good as well. Thanks for asking.
And how are you, Ryan?
I'm all right.
And this has been Spit and Polish Asks, but after answers.
Yeah, exactly.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. So we're Spit and Polish, likingly, because we're always spitting. We both happen to be Polish. We know this tradition of telling the audience why we're called that, so that the audience can sit there and go, it all comes together now, like a fine tapestry, like a stanza, you know? It just rhymes. So, Bartek, what's an unappreciated masterpiece for those not in the club? Not in the fun house.
Well, for all the peeps in the club, a UM stands for unappreciated masterpiece.
Not
no? That's the punchline. An unappreciated masterpiece is a film that does not currently have the love that it deserves. That means that, maybe once it did, maybe it never had it. We don't know. But what we want to happen in the future is a nice increase in love, popularity, and possibly even like a cult status.
Yeah, and also for Green Book to have its Oscar taken away and given to whatever movie we're covering. Yeah,
And
I think that's all. I think that's fair.
Which will in turn turn Green Book into an unappreciated masterpiece.
Exactly, and then we have to do an episode on it. Yeah. So unfortunate that. But Bartek, what is the film we're covering?
This episode we are covering Niezwykłe życie Timothy'ego Greena.
Ego. My favorite.
It is kind of funny for me because it's like an apostrophe ego kind of thing.
Oh my god, I got to see it written down instead of you telling me it. That's great. I don't speak Polish. I know, a curse upon me and my soul.
Anathema.
Whatever that means in Polish. So I have to have you translate it for me. Or the audience can. Let's listen.
Good attempt.
Good attempt, but not close. We're not doing The Hunt for Red October.
You can work on the pronunciation.
Yeah, you could work on that articulation. A little less spitting involved, but you're almost there. A little bit too close to the German vernacular, but, you're almost there. So, Bartek, what is it?
Niezwykłe means unusual.
We're doing the unusual suspects. I knew it.
No, that was a very niezwykłe guess, Ryan. Życie means life.
Okay, the unusual life.
Yes.
What does Timothy mean?
Timothy, third voice, means Timothy.
Oh, right. I get what you're saying now. Okay. The unusual life of Timothy. You had of there, right?
Well...
Or is it just the unusual life Timothy?
Well, Polish...
Because we skipped of, I guess.
Polish doesn't really have all those weird connecting words like the, of, and
Okay.
and all that. But we can put that there in the proper translation. But
Sure.
this is the hard one. The apostrophe ego, sort of in this particular case, kind of fits into like a possessive kind of thing. So the unusual life is Timothy's.
So there is an is, but not a of.
No. That was my
Okay.
explanation of the
Oh,
definition. I'm
okay.
not saying that it means
Oh,
is.
okay,
So
okay.
the unusual life belonging to Timothy is the
Ah,
unusual life.
okay.
Timothy Greener means green.
Okay. Now, why does that get an at the end, like an A at the end, and not just green?
Niezwykłe życie Timothy.
Like I get,
Greena.
like why does that get that instead? Like why is
I c-
Timothy still?
I can't
like
gi-
I just
Yeah,
I'm questioning the
give
Polish
you,
language.
I can't give you the full-on, Polish grammatical thing that it does, but adding it in this situation adds to the possessive thing
So
towards
would-
this Timothy Green
do it
character and
with-
an unusual life.
So refresh me. We're doing the unusual life of Timothy Green.
Well, if we were to literally translate, it's unusual life Timothy Greens.
Okay.
Unusual Life Timothy Greens, which is very similar to that 2012 title, The Odd Life of Timothy Green.
Oh my god, we're doing the odd life of Timothy Green. Oh my god, it felt like we started this episode in 2012 and we're finally here in 2019.
I compared this title to that movie, but now that I think of it, I think they are the same movie, and this was just the Polish title.
Can
for
I
that
introduce
one.
the guest?
We can.
No, I said can I. I didn't say can we.
I said we can, but I won't and you will. That's what I was implying. The unusual words
So we're
of
joined
me.
by the unusual life that is Grayson Brown.
Wow, that's fucking transphobic, you asshole.
I didn't apply that. You did.
That's all good.
I just meant that you smelt. So
How dare you bring that up? This is a podcast and they don't know that.
so they can't feel me. They can't. So they can't know that you can't deny it. You can't deny it. They
Yeah.
don't know the truth.
I mean, they don't know
The truth
that I
is-
actually record in a different room because of my stench.
It's such a powerful odor.
And it's not even bad, it's just very strong.
Let's get started into the movie, and I'm going to talk about a smell
Just laughing,
situation.
picturing that. Just someone in a different room.
We had to put them in a hyperbaric chamber in the middle of the sea. So let's get the start of the episode. And I'm actually going to tell a story about my journeys this week with two individuals who smelt bad. Just connect it through.
Oh.
or smelt. One of them didn't smell bad. They smelt something. So get your copy
As in
of
they
the...
were smelling something, or they
No,
smelled?
they smelt of something.
Okay.
It's hard to determine. So get your copy of The Odd Life of Timothy Green from 2012 ready, because we have a copy, I have a copy, you have a copy. We're all joined in the copy club.
And why would we? It's free on YouTube.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a pirated copy on YouTube.
Oh, it's like shorter though.
Is it? I didn't watch that one because I'm
Good.
just like I can't watch
Is
it.
it like mirror image to the audio?
Who knows?
It's like zoomed.
I
in
love
and,
those.
like-
Disney, get onto them. So get your copy, because I'm going to start this from 3, go down to 1, and I'm going to say play, you press play, and we'll be lined up as we speak about the movie.
But Ryan, are you also going to say 2 in between there somewhere?
Yeah, somewhere, but I didn't want to do the full countdown and then do it again.
That's fair. You don't want to
Repetition.
reveal your secrets.
I don't want to reveal my secret card trick. Get ready to get start this in 3, 2, 1, play. So my story about people who smelled happened succinctly, one after the other. I was traveling on the tram to work. A gentleman got on the tram who was clearly an alcoholic of some variety. Not like a homeless guy, just some guy who was just stinking of booze. He just was drunk off his face, and he demanded that they must open every single window of the tram because it's like an oven in here. And he proceeded to lean over me.
Was that this month?
That was literally Friday, so a day or two ago. So
So Friday wasn't that hot, was it?
it was like 18. So,
Which
so
is
absorb
awful for
that
me.
in. Absorb that in. So he leaned over me, armpit right in the face. So I got the full absorption of that. Pulled down the window. I had the wind on my face now, so that was at least blowing the smell away. And then after he left, like literally after he left, off the tram a couple stops later, this person got on. And they were a character. I loved them. They were a very, very interesting person. They were wearing full denim outfit, with safety pins all over it, so like real punk aesthetic. But then a bright rainbow hat that said, "I'm queer." And then they sat next to me, and they smelt strongly of something. And I don't know if it's like a bad thing, but it's overpowering no matter what.
Yeah.
And then they grabbed out of their bag, I swear to you, 100 million scratchies, and just started going through their lottery things and scratching all the debris all over me.
What
and
suburb was this?
This was on the way to Glen Ferry, so on the 70 tram line. So they're scratching all this, and I'm just like brushing off. I'm like, hey, could you like move over a little bit so you're getting all your debris on me? And they just looked me dead in the eyes, and then just went back to scratchy.
Like, excuse
didn't
me,
even
I'm
move.
queer.
Imagine if they weren't. They were just like, I won the hat.
Well, maybe they looked at you just.
I won the hat from a scratchy. Now
They
that
look
would
at
be.
you, they point at the hat.
The hat was on backwards, so they couldn't even point at the
So
hat.
only people behind them knew.
Yeah,
So he didn't want you to know. Was it a he?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It could have been
Like,
like
they
it
were
was one of those
clear, like-
ones. I don't know. I didn't want to make a guess because it was just like very, very gender non-binary kind of aesthetic going on. So I didn't want to guess, and I wasn't going to ask them. I'm like, hey, fellow individual who smells a lot.
Not bad,
something.
just a lot.
I see queer, but gender, what one? And they'll be like, well, excuse me, I'm going to put my scratchies away and have this theological discussion right here and now on the 70 tram line. Huzzah!
And as we all know, it's very, very polite to ask a stranger their gender on a tram. So
And I was being polite by having headphones on the entire time.
They would have
so-
scratched you if you asked.
I can't believe you engaged. Like, I would have.
Well, I did not. Well, it was one of those
popped out of
days
everything.
where if I went through the whole story of my public transport, that singular event, it would go for the whole 2 hours of this podcast.
Save it for
And
a
it was one of
stand-up
those
show.
ones. It was one of those ones where it's just like my emotions were just so racked up at that point, where it's just like, if I do not tell one of these people in my own sort of way to go fuck themselves, then I'm gonna regret this forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you've worked in hospitality. You must have that
I
sensation.
currently work in hospitality.
Well, I didn't want to make assumptions. Maybe you're like, I've moved on
I've moved
to
on.
farming.
I'm-
No, I've moved on to pencil factory manufacture.
Also, like, I assume this is a small town, and thus a lot of jobs are in the pencil factory and the pencil museum. But did they have those
Oh, is it a
jobs?
pencil museum?
There's two. There's the pencil factory and the pencil museum. I was confused at
Can I
first.
just point out, you started this whole thing about also, but that's the first thing we've said about the film.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
yeah, we're
because
talking about the film now.
I find more and more when I'm on, we don't talk about the film.
No,
and I'm
I
like,
want to talk about the film. I just want to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You guys had more questions than I expected.
Okay.
Drought.
Like, did they have those jobs like before they met each other, or did they?
Well, I think they met at high school because she
they?
dressed up as a pencil. And
Yeah, but you could dress up as a pencil.
no, but
as
they
an
made it. They
adult.
made it sound like the first girl he ever met was at school, and he saw her at a parade at school where she dressed up as a pencil. So my assumption is they met when they were like young kids or teens or whatever, and they've been together since.
Okay.
And that was my
I-
assumption. Oh, Outback because he's Australian.
Oh, I'm very
Clever.
quickly learning that I did not pay much attention to this.
Well, this
movie.
film is pretty nuanced. So this is a pencil museum. Thank you for giving that, because in my notes I did write, what is this a museum of? Because I got the feeling that
Pencils.
Diane Wiest is like one of those rich recluse women who decides that she's going to turn her house into a museum, which is actually pretty common in rural towns, at least for me in Australia. Like, I grew up in a rural town, and there is one or two people or some communities within my rural town that's like, yeah, we're going to make a museum dedicated to like
There was
the
this-
town, and it's just like it's someone's house that they've converted into like. And when the colonists came and got rid of those aboriginals, we celebrated by dancing, and it's like,
I was gonna speak of a much more good example of that. My dad, for some of my
Steve
teenage
Tyler?
years. Yeah, my dad, Steve. What is happening? I know that's from like 3 or 4 podcasts ago.
That's from your
Like years ago.
I
years
know.
ago.
My dad.
Everyone's dad is Steven Tyler. Go on.
My dad lived in Seymour for some of my teenage years, and he would like figure out like places we could go to, like
Yeah.
you know, when I was with him on the weekend. And somewhere near Seymour there was a house that was turned into a crystal museum, like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like painted on the sides with crystals that weren't half bad. And we went in and there was like a black light with like glow in the dark crystals.
Oh my
and that
God,
is a
this is
house
so
museum that
cool.
I went to. It was really cool. It was
So
also a gift shop.
I knew nothing about this movie really, other than it was a modern fairy tale.
I had never heard of it.
I-
Sorry, I'm to pause. He's cutting the tomato's face up, and this is a pet peeve I have from uni, where we watched a David Cronenberg film where a woman cut the tomato's face up.
Oh, you mean what was Shivers?
Yeah,
Shivers.
I hate that movie.
I
so
love it.
much. Of course you fucking
Love
do.
it. Love it. You know why I love it? The main hero is a rational hero, which he's about to kiss a girl. He sees that she's got a monster in her mouth, and he immediately is like, no, and punches her and runs away.
I hated
I
that.
love it.
My
Or when he runs down the stairs and he hears barking, and it's like a bunch of children on dog leashes, and his reaction is run away. Like, he's just like, oh no, I'm not going to deal with this crazy shit right now. Run away.
That's
I
fair.
loved it. I loved it.
I don't think there's a movie that we have agreed on.
I think we all very much enjoyed the last film we covered.
Oh, that's right. No, yeah, I'm sorry. We are united by Rick Mayall. I forget this.
Thank you.
And Blackadder.
Yeah,
We all like Saint Trinians.
Saint Trinians. So, yeah, I didn't know much about this movie, so I walked in knowing that it was going to be magical realism, fairy tale, and that this kid, Timothy Green, was like a magical kid. Didn't realize that he wasn't like their natural kid. I didn't realize there was going to be like this whole saga about them not being able to have kids. So this movie really threw me for a loop, and it started out so depressing, and everyone's crying. And then I got curious, and I looked up who the director was, because it's like, oh, this is directed and written by the same person. And then I realized it's the guy responsible for such things as What's Eating Gilbert Grape. And I'm like, oh, this adds up 100%. And I even think...
And about a boy.
And about a boy. He at least wrote the screenplay for that. And then the story by this is by Frank Zappa's son, Emmet Zappa. And when I saw his name in the credits, I paused it, and I literally screamed out loud. I went, this is going to be crazy. And then it was. It was crazy.
You can clearly tell this is majority written by men because of the way it treats like adoption and not being able to have children.
Oh, yeah.
It's treated in a very, it's like, it's not necessarily treated horribly and badly, but it's just, and also like the attitudes to like child abuse are very, very strange.
Oh, you mean that every single adult in this movie, other than Uncle Bub and his wife, are abusive in some way to children?
Bub or Buck?
Bub.
Bub.
Okay. I don't, because we were talking before, and you said that Joel Edgerton and
Jennifer Garner
were bad parents.
Parents. They are.
They've got problems, and like they're helicoptery, and like they don't let Timothy.
I'm not saying bad as in terms of they should not be allowed to have a child. I mean, it's just bad in terms of they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And their whole life motto is like making mistakes and learning from them.
Yeah, and they are focused on the wrong things. Like they don't get to know who Timothy is. They get to know what they want him to be. Which is a bad way of doing things. You know, they don't like they don't care. Like when he is himself, they are kind of embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
They like it when he is what they projected him to be, which is kind of not what you should kind of do. I mean, that's kind of lesson. Like Joel Edgerton didn't like that about his own father, and that's why he kind of becomes his own father at some point in the movie. Joel Edgerton.
This scene is so strange.
It is strange. But Bartek, what about you? Did you have any kind of knowledge of this movie?
I knew this film based on the trivia point about Mr. Doug Walker. I knew that this...
Give context to who that is.
Doug Walker is an internet man who has a show called Nostalgia Critic.
Oh.
And I remember, I used to be very big...
I just want to give you context. Grayson just leaned past their microphone, gave a very concerned look like, are you going to list me as serial killer right now? And then you said Nostalgia Critic, leaned back and just was like, oh, thank God. I was worried that it's like Mr. Doug Walker, you know, that man who wears women's skin.
I just didn't know who Doug Walker was. And I was like, should I know who Doug Walker is?
That's why I was like, please clarify, Bartek.
Yes, I was going to. There was a time where I was a big fan of his, and then he stopped doing his show because he wanted to move on to another show. But then he made a 30-minute short film about why he's bringing his show back. And
after his 3.5-hour long film about why he was taking his character away.
Yes.
That's a real thing.
Yeah. And in that short film, he likened one of the major reasons as to bringing the character back was that he, in real life, watched this film, The Odd Life of Timothy Green, and thought to himself, I should start the show again. I need to do an episode about this.
And the question I have is, Doug Walker does not have children.
Mm-hmm.
So why did he see this in the cinema?
You know, it was...
Like that's the thing I ask myself. Like, why would you, as a full-grown adult, go see this movie without any kind of family to go with?
Well, he's a film critic.
No,
is he not doing it at this time?
No, he wasn't doing that. And also, he's an internet film critic, so he's not like a proper one who goes out and sees every movie and reviews them. His whole thing is he's a nostalgia critic, so he reviews movies from his nostalgic childhood. So why is he removed? Why did he, as a full-grown adult, without any career opportunity and no family to speak of, go and see this? It's just such a weird thing, because the strength of this movie is it is purely a family movie. Like this is kind of I can understand why this movie has a bit of a negative thing when it comes to just pure adult factor of watching this. And if you don't put the child within you to enjoy this movie, like it's like when you can rewatch as an adult kids movies that you watched and go, they're terrible. Like you could watch Jumanji today and go, the special effects aren't good, the story's sloppy, blah blah. But you have to put the child aspect of yourself in there.
Well, Ryan, clearly you didn't watch the 30-minute short film where he not only outlined why he's bringing the character back, but why he's going to now stretch out the time limit for what he considered as nostalgic.
Oh, okay. Which is he'll just do
Which
whenever.
is anything, pretty much.
I was nostalgic for this movie as well.
But anyway, other than that, I vaguely remember his review for it, but I was thinking to myself, like, wasn't there some kind of, like, fantasy element? Like, the kid was really in touch with nature or something like that? And then, you know, when he was born out of a box during a magic rainstorm or something, it hit me that maybe this is a fairy tale type of film.
Why did they... What sort of leaps did Joel Edgerton and Jennifer Garner get to we're gonna bury this box and it's gonna be fine? Is it the wine?
Yeah, wine does that.
Wine does that?
Wine does that.
I wouldn't know.
Well, again,
Wine does that. Like, it's like, you know, again, to go to Jumanji for a second. At the beginning of Jumanji, the box is buried. You know, you see like Victorian era or
Like
whatever.
the Jumanji?
Yeah, the Jumanji game board. You've seen Jumanji?
Yeah, but like
Well,
when I
there's
was a
at the
kid.
very beginning, they have like Victorian era
seen
of
the second one
Jumanji
recently.
people, and they throw the box and it gets buried under the thing. They were drinking wine before. That's why they did that.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very scary.
I suppose for us who are having a film discussion, this might come across as maybe... Oh, it might inspire more of a cynical reaction, but I feel like with films that try to have like a fairy tale story aesthetic, there kind of has to be that element of they did this because it's like a fairy tale story.
I think it's also one of those things too. It's really hard when you say that for modern audiences also to take that into consideration when it's set in a modern day setting. When you think of fairy tale, you think of
Yeah.
Is this set in
So-
modern day? Like, what era is this set in?
Well, I think it's today, right? Like, don't they have like phones?
Like mobile?
Yeah, don't they
phones,
have like
or-
cell phones? Like, doesn't he answer his phone at work when
That's
she's
right.
like, yeah,
Yes,
he
that's
got
right. Oh,
shit
yeah.
smeared. He
The
got
boss is giving the speech. It's like, are we interrupting something?
Yeah, and then he proceeds to just keep going on his phone. Like, if my boss said that to
He hadn't
me,
even- he
I would
hadn't even answered his
immediately
phone
hang
yet.
up.
Look, he hadn't even answered the phone yet.
Yeah, I know. I also like that the boss knew it was his phone with a generic ringtone, and he was standing behind the boss. So he was, and
With
he
like
looked,
three others or something.
and he was just like, "Green, are we interrupting something?" Then turned around. Ron Livingston knows a phone dial sound effect.
Like, yes,
He-
sir, you're
he
interrupting
was
Johnson.
he was in Office Space. He knows. He knows these things. I think you're right. Like, we have to take that grain of salt that the logical lapses of movies like this, of why did they bury it in the backyard, it is that kind of magical realism thing, and you apply, yes, they're drinking wine, they're very, very sad, but also they're very, very giddy, and they're kind of just doing these things that, I mean, normal people wouldn't do. I mean, they never really go to the police, or they never take the kid to a doctor. They take them to a botanist because he's got plants
Well,
on him.
they try to
So
go...
that's like the logical leap of
Yeah.
what would be a fairy tale logic. It's like, you know, that's the kind of thing.
Well, to be fair, in a few minutes they do try to go to the police, but they kind of backpedal away from that. So
Well,
to
he
kind
already
of like keep into the fairy tale
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, exactly. But I think he stopped doing it because he realized what happened by looking
Yeah.
in the backyard. Poor Joel Edgerton. He looks like he's about to cry.
Yeah, and the fairy tale really centers not about the character whose name's in the title, but the parents. Like the magical thing happening in the fairy tale is to teach them a lesson, and in the end, like we're gonna bring it up eventually. The video you sent me last night, Ryan.
God, I hated that. I couldn't watch it.
I thought it would be valuable to talk about.
Like a lot of people were calling this like a really sad film, like they're very sad. They cried at the end, but and some people even said that it had a sad ending. But
I mean, it had a bittersweet ending.
I mean, yes, something sad happened right before the ending, but the ending itself ended on an optimistic note.
Yeah, and we're talking about the fact that, spoiler alert, Timothy dies. That's sad, but then they get rewarded with a new child,
Again-
and through the hard effort that they've put in,
Again, I might be calling myself out
Okay.
accidentally for not paying attention, but I
You will.
didn't get that he died. I thought he was just reabsorbed back into the earth.
Oh yeah, but that
That's-
means
yeah,
he's
that's
he's
right.
dead for them. Like, he's not going to be their kid around. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's
I will say
he
this.
is dead on a level. I was just before you say.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think one of the things I would have appreciated about the movie, just a little critique, not a critique, just a little thing that I personally would have liked. I think it would have been a beautiful image if he got reabsorbed into the ground and then like a sprout came out of the ground and he became a tree, and it's like he's always with them in their yard,
Like Once on This Island.
Yeah, and like it could have been a nice little visual thing, like when we see them at the adoption agency and they come back and there's now that tree in their yard and like Joel Edgerton puts his hand on it, and it could have been a little sweet or something, and the tree's leaves get turned into the pencils, and it could have been little cute, but like they want children to cry so that I can give that video to Grayson to make you feel very upset.
I really didn't like it.
But I just thought it would be valuable to show because there's this viral video. It has like 9 million views or something ludicrous.
Was it like 3.5 million?
Oh, 3.5 million. I've been watching a lot of random things.
There are
for
multi-millions.
Multi-millions, a viral hit, nonetheless. And it's like these children, one in particular, crying their eyes out with sadness
in the
about
back of the car right after seeing
while
the
their
film,
parents laugh about this movie. And I thought it'd be very valuable because I had a feeling that, Grayson, you'd be kind of more cynical one about this movie a little bit in comparison to us two, because you're always cynical about the movies we choose.
Yeah, I am.
Poor sorority
but
boys.
Usually, fuck sorority boys, transphobic bullshit.
So why I sent it was I just wanted to emphasize, well, this is a movie that is emotionally engaging, especially towards children. And I thought, this video is also a sensational viral hit, so I thought it could be something interesting to kind of bring up. Like, this is something for children, and I want to ask, if you were a child and you saw this movie, would this be one of the ones that would have touched you as a kid, or one of the ones in your repertoire of movies?
Probably not, because it's not in line with any of the other ones that are like that. I was... The ones that I clicked with were ones that we had on videotape that we had no right to have on video.
Like?
I cannot remember the name of some of them. I do not know where my parents got them. The one that we did have right to own was The Animals of Farthingwood, but we only had like part 1, so I don't know to this day how that ends. But I know the first part. We had like a bunch of... This is calling back a very strange childhood memory. We had a bunch of like short cartoons that were like, they were in English, but like thinking about them now, I think they were from like France or something.
Okay.
And one was about
they're called Madeline. We get it.
Exactly. I did watch Madeline a lot as a kid. There was this kid, a mouse dentist, and I do not remember anything else. I watched Mighty Mouse as a kid a lot because my grandpa.
What about
Batfink?
Batfink?
Batfink was on. Yeah, I didn't watch it. I liked Batfink.
Hugo a Go-Go is the best villain ever. There's literally an episode of Batfink where it's like every villain teams up together to take down Batfink, and it works, then it doesn't work because they're idiots.
There was like a Speed Racer ripoff where he like took pills or something.
Roger Ramjet.
Yeah, Roger Ramjet.
Where
Ramjet.
He's a hero. Yeah.
He's gonna take pollution down to 0.
Yeah, and he takes proton pills.
Proton pills, that's
proton pills, which are just steroids.
Yeah, that was like on ABC for like 10 minutes before the adult like programs started.
Oh yeah. So what about you, Bartek? If you were a kid and you had this movie in your childhood, would this be one that would emotionally affect you? Would it be one in your repertoire of movies to watch?
I think maybe a younger version of me would have enjoyed this one. I think the only film that ever made young me cry was Castaway with Wilson.
What I love is you chose a non-children's movie.
Kids film.
Yes. When I watched Saving Private Ryan when I was a 7-year-old boy, I also cried when that guy got slowly stabbed to death by the Nazi they let go. A tear went down my face.
When I simply devoured Silence of the Lambs when I was just 8 years old. The moment where he uses the guard's face as a mask.
Just quickly, what is the movie what is a movie that leaves to mind that you saw at a very young age that you probably shouldn't have seen? Mine was The Thing. My parents made me watch The Thing because my mum loves Kurt Russell, and I was not to brag, but I was a pretty mature kid when it came to movies. Like I knew it wasn't real from a very young age, but I could still absorb myself in it.
Okay, Bartek, do you want to go first? Because I don't think I have a film, to be honest. I've got a book.
What one? Lolita, when I was 9 years old. What a lovely tale.
Vladimir Nabokov. I'm only saying that because I remember his name and I'm proud. It was a book. I do not remember the title. It was a book that my dad gave me. It was very, very thick, and it was green and had a black Labrador on the cover, and we had a black Labrador at the time.
Oh, right. So your dad was like kids book.
No, Dad was, and I was probably 12, maybe a little bit older, and I was reading it like a very high level, but I was sticking to like younger books because they were fun and easy to absorb. And Dad, and we'd go
like
to
Artemis Fowl or something.
I actually didn't read Artemis Fowl. My brother did though.
Like,
oh no, he read Datora Quest.
Like Animorphs.
No, younger. Like I was reading like kids books.
Goosebumps.
They were no, shut up.
See Spot Run.
Good God.
Run, Spot, Run.
Just like stuff that I would take out the same book out of the library every week because I loved it so much.
Yeah.
And Dad was like, "Well, why don't you read something like bigger and like more challenging, and you'll be able to enjoy it." And so like it was this book with a Labrador on the cover. This book. So the Labradors, the dogs in the book were sentient and could talk to each other, but the humans didn't know that they were sentient.
Yeah, that's kind of standard rule.
And these two dogs met in a park, and it eventually transpires that the other dog has an evil owner. And you're like, oh no, the dog's got an evil owner, that poor dog.
Yeah.
And then the dog, eventually it also transpires that the dog is also evil and also helps to kill the owner's wife.
Right.
And I remember the owner's wife being like, her body being hung up in the park where no one could see.
Right.
And and the good dog, the black lab, eventually it culminates. I cannot remember much else, but it culminates in that the two dogs fight, and the black lab, the good dog's owner, like a young teenage, like part of the family owner, like tries to break up the fight, and the good dog accidentally bites her, and the book ends with the dog being put down, with the owner's wife, the bad owner's wife, like still hung up in her corpse in a forest. And I don't know how much of this is true, and I do not remember the name of that book.
I need to read this now.
But I remember finishing that book and going, I should not have read that. Like,
I love that there came a point where you were like, dramatic stuff happens, and you're like, still gotta read it though. Still gotta finish it.
And I don't think I ever told my dad about it. I don't think I ever told Mum about it either. But I was just like, I shouldn't have read. Like, Dad did not research this book at all.
So what about you, Bartek? Was there any movies or things that you absorbed at a young age that were probably one of those things where if you said that, like, I watched this when I was like 4 years old, people would be like, no, that was not a good thing to
evidently Castaway.
Castaway.
No, there's nothing I can think of that I've ever said, oh, I'm too young for this at the time.
Oh,
yeah.
I watched Rocky Horror at a very young age as well because my mum and dad love it.
I think
I probably watched Rocky Horror around like 4 years old, 5 years old or something.
I think I might have shown that to my brother when he was not that young, but maybe around 10.
So,
maybe a bit younger.
but
Sometimes adults, when like films have songs in them or musicals, they're like, "Oh, it's a musical. How bad could like Grease is a very, very good example."
I mean, my
That's
parents.
one I watched when I was young.
I watched Grease when I was like 12 or something. Younger because my brothers were doing it when they were 12. So
I didn't watch Grease until I was like in my late teens, early 20s because my parents was like, it sucks, and then I watched it. And I'm like, it does suck. I've talked about this in our Grease 2 episode, so I don't need to travel that ground any further. But Rocky Horror, my parents knew, but they were just like, it's great. So just my parents' mentality was, it's great, just watch it.
Definitely when I was...
like I said, I was a bit more mature when it came to watching things. Like, I knew The Artifice, so I never really had those movies that... Like, when it came... Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, there was no movies I could tell you that scared me as a kid. There are movies that I cried at for sure, like definitely, like, you know, there's bits in Jumanji that were tearjerker or you know,
Castaway.
Yeah, not Castaway, unfortunately.
I got a prolonged phobia of dolls in my childhood from an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh man.
To this day, they still creep me out quite a bit. So when you're like, have a look at my shrine, I'm like, I'd rather not.
Because Sabrina that one time.
Earlier when we were talking about Timothy's death, I wanted to say that it was a very bold choice for his disappearance to have like horror movie jump cut effect.
Yeah, that was true. No, I think I would have had this movie on in my repertoire. I think it would have emotionally resonated with me as a kid. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it was very sweet. I think it's a very sweet movie, and the thing is, we don't get many sweet movies like this anymore. And you know, this kind of whimsical spin on things. We get things like Book of Henry. Yeah,
I think
where it's always like, let's do subversions of things, and it's just like everything's nihilistic and deconstructionist. We can't have Star Wars be happy-go-lucky fun time. We have to make it like salt, kill them all. It's like,
What year was Book of Henry? Was it 17, 18?
Yeah, 2017.
2017. So 5 years after this. Half a decade of growth.
Yeah, exactly. Look who it is. It's Emmet Walsh.
When I saw
One of my favorite actors. I love that guy. He's still alive, believe it or not, in real life. He is 1,000,000 years old. And I love that guy.
When I saw his name in the credits, my immediate thought was, oh no, I need to pay attention. What if he's just a background character that I miss? But you cannot miss him in this film.
I mean, look at him. How can't you miss him? He's just such a weird dude. I always remember him from X-Files. When he appears as a replacement for another character in X-Files, they do the "I'm his brother" thing, and it works. It's fine. I'm like, it's fine.
Is this our 4th time seeing him on this
I mean,
podcast?
I think so. He's just a reappearing guy.
Yeah. Unlike Jennifer Garner.
Unlike Jennifer, who I swear this is like her 7th time lucky charm she is for cinema. I was saying this to Grayson before, but like, why is Jennifer Garner a thing? Is it because she was an Alias? Is that it? Like, I was like, what is her big movie? Because I think, is it literally Daredevil and Elektra? Like, those are the big movies of hers that leap to mind, and those are bad.
Maybe there's a really strong 13 going on 30 fandom.
Oh, yeah, 13 going on 30 does have a...
You've done that on this
Oh, yeah,
podcast,
yeah.
yeah?
Mhm.
Cool.
Or otherwise known as Suddenly 30.
Suddenly 30.
There's multiple names.
With Mark Soft.
I guess that's it, right? It's that one, right? And then being in a relationship with Ben Affleck. Yeah.
9 Lives was too late.
I remember when Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck were breaking up, and I was at my brother-in-law's place, and he was drinking, and he'd be a typical Australian guy, and he was just like wanting to crack a joke with me, and he was like, "Oh, Ryan, yeah, so Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner breaking up.
What do you think?
No, what do you think? You surprised?" And I'm like, I have no real opinion. He goes, "Who would have guessed? One of them's gay." And I'm like, "What, Jennifer Garner's gay?" And he just took him back. He just like stepped back because he was expecting, he was lining up that it was the Ben Affleck, because everyone jokes about Ben Affleck being gay in some regard because, it's funny. In the zeitgeist of things,
Was it not like she's so hot, why would you break up?
Yeah,
with
that
something?
too. It's like that thing, but also, and I just found it amusing to subvert his expectations by being like, Jennifer Garner's gay? I didn't expect that. But no, they just break up because he's a severe alcoholic.
Good God.
Life, man. Now, we all know Big Jim, right?
I don't know why they're letting the grandpa, bean all these kids with a fucking dodgeball.
Well, here's the thing. I had that exact same critique, but actually watching it properly, focusing in, he is hitting them hard. I will agree, but he is
Adam
actually being
Sandler and Billy Madison.
Or Ben Stiller in Dodgeball. But what I was gonna say was he was actually being playful as well. Like, he wasn't just going smack. He was jostling around and giving the kids a chance and doing this kind of stuff. So it kind of balanced out that thing. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I grew up with a Ukrainian grandfather who would be kind of like that, very stern and very and that's just kind of older generation of people, so I kind of bought it. It takes if you give it a chance, it kind of does make sense. You go, oh, okay, I get it, and the way they set up his character, this is great. I applauded.
At this bit, I jokingly wrote, he's photosynthesizing, but he legit, later on, they
He is
established that he
photosynthesizing.
legit is.
Yeah, because he's a plant.
It's just...
A plant as in piece of nature, not like a government plant.
Yeah, and they're always like, oh, it's so weird for him to be doing that. I'm like, have you ever met a child before? Kids just do that.
I'm going to be honest. For a 10-year-old kid, it is kind of weird when he's in the middle of dodgeball to be doing this. I don't know. It is also annoyed me because it's not even that sunny.
If he was a girl, that would that's girls just little girls just fucking do that.
Yeah, but
and
10 years old, 11 years
well.
old is that cusp of that's kind of strange behavior.
I mean,
I'm not denouncing what you're saying. I'm just saying he is at that weird cusp age where you go, that's something to look out for.
To be fair, though, this is his first
introduction to
day
everyone
into daylight.
And also his first introduction to literally everyone. None of these people even know where he's from, who he is, what is he, nothing. It's just and here he is being weird in dodgeball and doing this thing, and it makes everyone slow down and go,
Well, that's how everyone's life starts. Bath, sudden picnic.
Well, no, first it's
photosynthesis.
emerging from the ground that suspiciously looks like a muddy vagina. And then...
scuttling around an unknown house.
Yeah, then scuttling into... then scuttling into bed with Joel Edgerton, covered in mud. And then he cuddles
we've
you.
all had that dream, okay?
No, that happened in life. That's how we all got born.
Well, specifically for Australians.
Joel Edgerton is eternal.
Do we know who Big Jim is? The grandfather?
I've seen him before.
He looks
David
familiar.
Morse. He was in Green Mile.
Ah.
He's Brutus, Tom Hanks's second in command guy. You haven't seen Green Mile, have you? You seem to know a lot of Tom Hanks movies, like Castaway. So I was like, did you watch? Now, that's one I watched at a young age as well, actually. And for the longest time, I never realized until recently rewatching it that it was Sam Rockwell as like the crazy prisoner guy.
I think I might have seen 8 Mile when I was younger, but I don't remember anything about it.
I've never watched all of 8 Mile because I cannot care. Like, it's just not connects to me. As someone who grew up in rural Australia, I do not care about the plights and struggles of poor white boy trying to get into rap. You know what I mean? I can't connect. But I can connect to Lin-Manuel Miranda's film debut.
Is this his film debut?
Film debut. Now, I'm going to ask, I'm not a huge knowledgeable person on Lin-Manuel Miranda, but does he have a certain aesthetic he likes to keep up in everything he is in, with that kind of tying up the scarf or having like a cravat near his neck and chest? Because he has this exact same look in the new Mary Poppins.
I mean,
And he has the exact same thing in Hamilton with like a neck thing there. And when I've seen him in real life, he wears scarves like this. So does he have an aesthetic that he demands that must be kept up in everything he's in?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know much about Lin-Manuel Miranda either.
Yeah, surprisingly, when I was looking up YouTube comments, there was a good while before I got into comments that were literally nothing but being amazed that he's in this.
It's his first thing.
Yeah.
I do find that him interesting as real life guy. There's like that great video of him showing off one of the Hamilton songs when Obama was president, and everyone took it as a joke. It was like, haha, how funny this is. Like, it's so quirky that you're doing a hip hop rap thing about,
A president.
Yeah.
Not a president.
No, yeah, about
A founding father.
founding father. But then, like, but then they show the footage of Obama actually being at the Broadway show, and it's all taken seriously. It's like, it's kind of cool that, the growth of that. That's kind of cool. I want to ask you this. Did you think Lin-Manuel Miranda's character was gay in this?
What?
It's a serious question, because it is one that is actually, when I looked up the internet stuff, it's one that a lot of people flagged up as something really nice about the movie, that people thought he was a gay character because he's like, at the end of the movie, he's just like, it's okay to be different, and he says it in a somewhat flamboyant way, and he's like the town botanist, and all this kind of stuff, and people like, we think he's like a representation of like a gay person, and I was like, did you guys get any of that vibe from this character? Because if so, I think it's, sure, why not?
What was this, 2012?
Yeah, 2012.
2012 Disney?
Yeah.
No, I don't think this character's gay in a 2012 Disney movie.
Why not?
Because Disney... I'm not...
Well, you think... Oh, you want to leave it to LeFou to be the only gay character that they have?
The fool? The fool?
That gay fool? Yeah. Whose gay scene is him dancing with another man for like 2 seconds and then going off to a woman.
Wasn't
Funny.
Frozen the year after this?
Yeah, but Frozen doesn't have
Frozen
any
was
gay...
2012, wasn't it?
It was 2013, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't care. I didn't watch it.
That's fair.
That doesn't have any gay characters. Though.
No, but everyone
Assumes that...
brings up stuff about the female characters.
But they're
in that.
gay. They're sisters.
You just said they're gay, right?
No,
So
but
I think-
everyone... No, but everyone...
They're gay sisters.
They're
Not
gay
together.
sisters.
Good God.
No,
Horrible.
but God. Damn it, Janice. So, Bartek, did this scene emotionally resonate with you? When
well-
you were a small child and you got covered in
We're just not going to talk
food
about the gay thing anymore.
Yeah,
I know. Sorry. Did you think that at all with Lin-Manuel Miranda?
I honestly kind of forgot he was in the film until the very end, where he brought up I've seen it. I'm like, yes, you have. That's right.
correct.
You did see it. You exist.
Yeah, that's fair.
I guess if you want to like make the stretch of physical appearance wise, when you bring up the cravat thing, like if you want to bring that into like the sensitive,
Yeah,
kind of character,
sensitive
thing,
soul.
maybe. I really don't think it was any sort of.
I think a lot of
thing
people. For me, I didn't pick it up either, but I think there's that thing with certain tropes and visual cues
Like
and vocal
confirmed
inflections.
bachelor.
And also, like, there's that thing of, if you're a botanist and you're a man in a movie, it's a whole, you're
like a
gay.
hairdresser or something.
Or a hairdresser, or, it's like you're gay. And I hate when people go, Sulu from Star Trek was a botany expert. It's like, yeah, but Sulu wasn't gay. The actor is gay, but he wasn't gay. So, like, that's kind of stupid in itself to flag. Well, see, I've heard that argument. It's just like, see, but Sulu was gay. Sulu did botany, and he's gay. Like, no, the character isn't. The actor is, sure, but like the character isn't.
New
honestly-
film Sulu's gay though.
Yeah, which upset George
George
Takei because he's like, well, that's indicating that my character was closeted the entire time, and that's not what I'm about.
Isn't it an alternate dimension thing?
Yeah, but the problem is when you have an alternate dimension in which all the characters are already born, and an event changes, it's one of those tricky things of, sure, if the dimension-changing event happened before all the characters were born, maybe, but, George, like a lot of gay people, and George Takei is taking the thing of, I'm born gay. Like, it's not like I suddenly woke up one day and I'm like, I've decided to be gay. Like, so it's like, if you have so that's why he's a bit iffy about it. Like, yeah, it's an alternate dimension, but his character already existed as a it's one of those things. It's not like, oh, in that dimension, why Sulu is gay is because a planet blew up, and somehow that shifted the butterfly effect of making his character gay. Like, it doesn't work,
Sounds like a fairy tale.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work, so that's why he's upset about it. So it's reflecting on the 60s show and the legacy of being like, oh, well, I guess Sulu was closeted the whole time.
Okay.
Which is unfortunate implication, and that's what he doesn't like. Because he's like, I was closeted at the time, and it was a horrible experience.
Yeah, it fucking.
And
would
it's
have
just
been.
like, now you're saying Sulu was. In retrospect, it's like, no, don't do this. So this woman was in Star Trek as well. Star Trek 3, the one where Star Trek 3 Beyond, where Sulu came out as gay, oddly enough. She plays Commodore Paris, which is a great, great relative of another character who was called Paris.
Doesn't she play like quite a few
she's in the-
people in power in sci-fi things?
Yeah, she's a general in the Mass Effect games, apparently.
Ooh.
I never have played those games, but I looked her up. She's in a lot of sci-fi things and a lot of stuff as authoritative. She was, a Commodore in Star Trek 3 Beyond. It's kind of funny because her great-great-great-grandson is a white guy, but she's like an Indian woman, so it's kind of like...
Was she in The Expanse, or am I?
Oh,
getting
she is.
confused?
She's one of the main people in The Expanse. Yeah, which I've only watched the first season of, oddly enough.
I haven't seen any of it, but a good friend of mine really loves it in the books.
Okay, fair enough. Now, did anyone else think that this young, what's her name again? The girl? The love interest?
Give me a
Odeya
moment.
Rush is the actor.
She looks like a
Joni.
She looks like like a little Mila Kunis.
A little.
She looks like Mila Kunis.
Joni Jerome.
For a second there, I thought you pronounced Kunis like Muniz.
Little Mila
Kunis.
Kunis.
Frankie Kunis. Frankie Muniz.
Oh, now you got me wondering. Now, this is one of the best kind of, characters blossoming. She goes down there, gets kicked in the face. She was going to kiss him, though, but then she decided, I want to know what's under those socks.
It felt like they were accidentally making a comment on the futility of adults.
Oh, they are. No, they are. I think it's on purpose. I think the whole idea of the movie...
But then they
for
don't
me,
take it anywhere.
Well, they do. Our main two adults change by the end and become competent people.
I think I
And
read...
then Timothy influences those adults by giving them leaves, because at the end, Big Jim becomes more involved with the family because of Timothy's actions, and
so
the
pissed that he got
sister.
redemption.
No, because my problem is, I understand what you're saying, but the problem is, Big Jim's problem that they represent was he wasn't an abusive father, he wasn't a terrible father, he just was kind of an absentee father, and now he is becoming more involved, and I think that's an okay redemption. It's not like they're trying to say, my dad used to hit me, and now I think for a Disney film,
It's
the
like a
idea
redemption in work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be something that will continue on, and I think that's perfectly fine message.
I think there was some review or something that had an interpretation that this film is told by unreliable narrators, that they're making characters appear worse, like the sister and the dad, than they actually are, because it's being told by our two main characters.
One emotional moment for me when it came to that kind of stuff was when Uncle Bob dies in the hospital, and the sister. It's one of those,
I would have brought my children.
if I knew, I would have brought my children. Like, it's competition, and that's really cold, but that's real, man. I've seen that kind of behavior in people, and it's just, but. Yeah, I think they do change because of Timothy, but mainly it's our two main adults. Like, their bad parents say...
Scene made me laugh.
Is it that it makes you think that somewhere in the woods the boy next door is teaching the guy how to shoot oranges, or as you call them, pumpkins, because it looks like the same forest from the boy next door.
It kind of reminded me more of Thunderpants when the bully was running away from Patrick Smash.
This also, hey, do you think Ready Player One ripped this off?
I haven't seen Ready Player
When
One.
Ready Player
And
One,
yes.
Ready Player One has like the girl is like, you wouldn't like me in the real world. I'm gross, and then it's like all she has is a red birthmark across her face,
Like a
and
Port
she
Weinstein
still looks like a beautiful model. And that's kind of what she's going on. She's like, I'm an outcast because of this, and it's like no one can fucking see that. It's under your shirt.
And like a
I
lot
have a
of people.
birthmark and I've never seen it.
Where's your birthmark?
Apparently it's on the back of my head.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, we probably all have something going on our head, and we won't know until we shave it. you
Well,
know?
when I was younger, I didn't have I don't have long hair, but longer than normal hair. Apparently, when I was younger, people did see it a little bit sometimes. Like, what are you talking about?
Get off. What are you talking about?
Get out!
There are no eyes back there.
I like some don't. A lot of people view Port Weinstein birthmarks as beautiful, or am I just in a weird world? I mean, I am.
It depends if it's on a beautiful person or not.
Oh, okay.
Of-
If
Maybe-
it's on Gorbachev, no one's gonna say it's beautiful.
Maybe. Maybe if it has like a nice shape,
They're
like a
gonna
heart.
say it's iconic, but they're not gonna say it's beautiful.
I haven't heard Gorbachev mentioned for a long time.
Well, welcome to the Spin Polish podcast, where we don't forget our Russian enemies.
Mr.
Well,
Gorbachev,
So,
show us your birthmark.
Welcome to Gorbachat.
I would love a podcast all about Gorbachev's achievements. It's called Gorbachat. That would be great.
Spit and Polish presents Gorbachev.
No, this movie, touching, emotional, lots of twists, lots of turns.
Shitload of pencils.
Do you use a pencil?
I prefer them to pen, yeah.
You prefer them to a pen.
Yeah.
Would you use a pencil made out of leaves?
I mean, depending on the price of it and whether it was available at Officeworks, yeah.
Can I just say, the day before doing this podcast, I did work on the Australian election day.
So you're the reason.
And one of... I actually,
no.
I actually haven't been following the news. I don't know anything.
Oh,
but,
the wrong people won.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Queensland.
One of our biggest problems was there was only
One pencil.
like one pencil for us all to use. Not in the
and you
booths.
broke it, right?
No. And we were meant to have like a shipment of more pencils come in at some point, and it never came.
I was waiting for you to. I thought you were about to
A
say we were.
shipment
I
on
thought
a
you were going to say
Saturday.
a shitload more pencils, but you said shipment.
It's like no, this
I
specific
love the idea
form-
that a freighter would come along to you in the middle of an Australian suburb with no water nearby. A freighter just crashes into your thing. It just comes out and is like, here's the pencils.
It comes in on
there were
Blackburn,
pencils in the booths to fill in your forms,
course.
but like not for us to carry around the room.
Guys, he's photosynthesizing again.
Hell yeah.
In the shade a bit.
Oh no, a leaf fell off. A
So-
leaf fell off.
So it's revealed later on that every time he achieves one of the goals that were written on the piece of paper, a leaf falls off.
Is it revealed later on, or did I read that from Wikipedia?
Well, it's,
No, I eventually the parents mention it pretty much, and
Oh,
I
okay.
realized that.
Yeah.
And I actually felt silly because like, oh shit, I didn't pick on
Well,
this
it's
at all.
it's because it's a complex movie,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of what it's going for. Like,
Yes.
it's a journey about how adults can be like negligent in various ways when it comes to life, but also raising children and looking after children. Like Common, for instance, is in this movie as a very overzealous soccer coach
Coach Cat.
who won't let the child on to play because he's too concerned with winning.
I do wonder whether this is a thing that
That Common is
No.
in every movie.
So I don't have you guys seen But I'm a Cheerleader?
No.
Okay.
Wait, is that the one with the chick from American Pie? Natasha Lyonne?
Oh, okay. Yeah, Natasha Lyonne is
You
in it.
do remember that's what she was big from before
But I'm a
Orange is the New
Cheerleader
Black.
or American Pie?
American Pie.
I did not know she was.
She
American
was
Pie.
the one that had lost her virginity already, and everyone was asking her advice, and she's just like, "You're overthinking it." Like she already sounded like that. Like, yeah. Just a bit of context.
But RuPaul is in But I'm a Cheerleader.
Well, we all are big familiar fans with RuPaul. He was recently in the Brady Bunch movie. Go on.
Mm-hmm.
For our show.
Recently. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they might have made a new Brady Bunch movie. Who knows?
So RuPaul's costume is almost identical to Common's costume.
In this.
Yeah.
Oh, so RuPaul's not in drag in that?
No, RuPaul's not in drag. It's
Okay, because in Brady Bunch he wasn't drag.
yeah. So he's got a moustache.
Ah.
And he's wearing a blue tracksuit. I believe RuPaul's is a slightly more turquoise blue, and it's a short tracksuit. And I was like, is this intentional? Because it's uncanny.
Well, I wonder. It's also these things of when you notice movie things like similar costumes, similar sets, like you get to that point where you get very distracted. Like if you watch a lot of things like me, you get distracted when you watch The Desperate Housewives and you go, hey, that's the Psycho House. Or when you watch this movie and you start questioning, wait a moment, this film was directed and written by the same person who did What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Their house looks very similar to the house in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Could it be the same house? Like, it makes you do that. Like, your brain goes, oh my god, I'm looking at all these things. It's like, oh.
There was a trivia point about that. Like, it was the same house as some other film, and I can't remember what film it was, but I know it was a darker tone film than this.
Well, What's Eating Gilbert Grape is kind of dark. I mean, the house burns down.
I mean, someone eats Gilbert Grape.
But who?
Or what?
John C. Reilly, maybe. He is in it.
God, I've not seen that film.
Oh, don't.
I'm not gonna.
It's all right. Like, it is weird. Like, there are things that I like about it, but it's also a bit too twee for my sensibility. And I wish it was more like a John Waters movie. If it's going to be like that, just be more John Waters for my taste.
This film is almost twee.
Well, it's almost, but it doesn't do the symmetry for shots like Wes Anderson would, so it avoids that level of twee.
What's that? What's this word, twee?
Grayson, you want to explain twee?
No, I don't.
Come on.
Well,
on.
I'm gonna be in the dark if you don't.
Explain twee.
I'm very bad at defining words. I'm also bad at using them, so I'd much prefer if you define.
Okay, well, twee is something along the lines. Oh, you're showing me a picture of RuPaul. Yes.
But I'm a cheerleader.
I see.
Yes.
It's
So twee is often something that's attributed to something like Wes Anderson's work, in which you have that very specific level of. It's kind of hard to describe. It's a very specific style of sappy, sentimental, but also hipster stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about now? Like, you get an idea.
So, yeah.
Like, there came a point where Adventure Time became twee. Like, you know, it just gets to that point where it's like lots of things, and it's just like Wes Anderson is the master of twee. Like, those shots that are perfectly in symmetry.
Maybe
and
I don't know what twee means.
yeah, that's kind of what twee. Like, Wes Anderson gets labeled twee a lot. You know, like that kind of hipster cinema, kind of with that soppy sentimentality, but also that cynical edge. That it's a hard one to describe. Like, it's like trying to fully. It's like trying to. Well, a lot of film things are hard to describe. Like it's like saying what's a Mary Sue. Like, there's a million different definitions of what one is, and all of them contradict what they are. Like, and then you go, well, the original version of what a Mary Sue was this, and it's like, well. Like, you know, whoop-de-doopty. Like, I hate getting those arguments about. I've had so many arguments recently about what characters are and are not Mary Sues, and I'm usually arguing that they're not, because I'm just like, no, this thing happens, and they're like, yeah, but, and I'm like, you've decided already.
Because I grew up at that certain time of the internet. Do you know what a male version of a Mary Sue is called?
No.
It's called a Gary Stew. And it's almost never called out in fiction, and I wonder why.
I've actually heard two. I've heard Gary and Marty.
Marty Stew.
I think Gary more so.
Now, I was arguing about Star Trek with Mary Sue, and I'm like, well, technically everyone's a Mary Sue in Star Trek. They're all, like, fucking super geniuses that work in the military. I mean, it's hard to say that they aren't. It's also hard to say that they are. It's just like everyone is.
But
they were specifying one single character who just also happened to be a woman, and I'm just like, oh, it's just like, why does she have to be a Mary Sue but fucking Data isn't? Like, fuck off. Like, yeah, you want to pick on 7 of 9, do you? I mean, she's flawed. She's anxious. She has panic attacks. Oh, yes, that typical trait of a Mary Sue. I'm getting into it. Don't get me started. Common, on the other hand, typical Mary Sue.
Very common type.
Is his name? Does he have a real name? Common? Or is he just? Is that his name? Like, is he a rapper? I imagine he is.
Ryan, literally.
I know that's his stage name.
No, yeah, but
Common rapper. Okay. But, like, does he have a name? Like, is his name like a really dweeby name? Because I've ever noticed, like, a lot of these people have these fake names, have like really dweeby names. Like, what's Eminem's real name
Marshall
again?
Mathers the
third. Yeah, exactly.
The third.
The third. So there's 2 more Eminems in the past. in the Wild West, there's one. Like. So, I found this movie very poignant, very brave. And what? It's very brave to, at a time in which superhero movies were taking off as the big wig deal, and movies are becoming darker. Big dig wheels. And movies are becoming really nihilistic and deconstructionist, and oh my god, everything's a nightmare. You have a movie like this that's just like, yeah, we're fine, fun, friendly family movie.
It's Disney.
Yeah, but even Disney's, look at Star Wars now.
Yeah, but Disney owns...
And that's a movie for a family.
Disney, not in the whole, like, Disney as an owning a parent company.
Yeah.
More as, like, the classic, like, straight to... Not that this was straight to video, but the classic, like, straight to video live action. This is very in line with that, is it not?
Yeah, but that's when that era is ending.
This is true.
Think about how many of those we've got left now. When was the last time you saw Tim Allen's Shaggy Dog in the cinema? Like the equivalent of that, made by actual Disney. You know what I mean? Like we don't get these types of movies, or these genuinely, like, this is just a fun romp, like, sweet for the family type of movies that aren't animated. And even the ones that are animated are usually cynical, like the Romeo and Juliet,
yeah.
or want to rip your fucking heart out and stomp it on the ground inside out. And
This film, I feel like if they had have gone a bit more stylized, like with the whole Pencil Factory thing, for a second when I saw Pencil Factory, I'm like, oh, are they going for like a Pleasantville, like a really sickly sweet, like a really stylized sort of thing?
Yeah, the Legend of Frosty Snowman aesthetic, yeah.
And then they did it, and I'm like, look, fine, it would make it a different movie.
But it does have its own aesthetic, though.
It does have its own aesthetic, but its own aesthetic is like Midwest, small town.
Yeah, but that's perfect. We don't see much of those.
That's true.
And there is a sort of dweebiness to the whole, Pencil Factory thing, because they have, like, a pencil in their backstory.
Sorry, my favourite gag in the movie just happened
boss.
where, Rod Livingston's like, I've given him the speech of, like, I'm in charge, blah, blah, blah. I need you to fire these guys. I've delegated that to you. It's like, because it's your job. And then he drinks the big, huge mug that's like, I'm the boss. It's just a funny little moment. I just love it. It's just like, good job. Joel Edgerton's saying no food here, though. Okay, no food. No, not tonight. No more jokes. Did you find that joke funny?
What joke was it?
The joke that
I missed it. What was it?
Well, when you miss it, you miss it.
I missed it.
Bartek, did you laugh at his joke?
Did you tell a joke?
Yeah, he told a joke.
No.
Why is no one listening to Timothy's jokes? See, you guys are just as bad as his parents.
Oh, Timothy told a joke.
Yeah, sorry. Timothy told a joke, and Joel Edgerton's like, not tonight, buddy, and then left the room. And it's like, well, I guess he could have kept going for tonight. You left the room, Joel.
I thought it was like, what, the dad who is really sad and he told a joke?
Yeah, the joke is my life.
The joke is that not tonight? I'm like, what not tonight?
Well, that's a funny joke. Hilarious. There's a creepy... What is that thing? It's gone now, but there's like a creepy shadowed figure in between there. It was there in the shop before, but it looked like they had a cat. And I'm like, what is that?
I thought you were pointing at the candle.
No, not the candle.
Brian.
So, Bartek.
Yes?
What was one of your favourite moments of this particular feature film brought to you by Disney Incorporated?
It was a sad moment, but it had elements of happiness there that I think outweighed it. The final scene with Emmet Walsh was a very nice and tender little scene between him and Timothy.
Do you think that you find it also very tender because of this podcast? You've been introduced to him as a character actor, and you've seen him play a wide range of characters, ranging from sleazy to sentimental. Do you think that kind of weighs in on why you found that scene emotional, or do you find it just purely on its own face value?
Oh, I'd say both, absolutely. I like Emmet Walsh, and I think, because he came across a little bit throughout the film as, I wasn't sure from his first appearance if he was meant to be like a little bit crazy.
Well, he did invent the peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Yeah, and I didn't
That's
know.
a fact.
And I didn't know if that was meant to be like a joke to tell to this kid. It's like, oh, look, I'm a kooky guy. Or if
they
that
did
was...
say have the humor of Uncle Bub.
Yeah. But still, I don't know if that was...
Classic.
I still didn't know if that was, like, outruling. Is he, like, mentally there or not?
Do you reckon Uncle Bub is her uncle or his uncle?
Oh, it's hers.
Hers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hers.
He raised her.
That's right.
Yeah, because her parents must have done the old death off screen, as Disney parents do with girls. They often die.
Girls and Tarzan, yes.
Well, yeah, Tarzan has long hair, so,
He's blurring the lines.
I often forget about Tarzan. It's one of my least favorites.
Really?
it just doesn't do it for me. Like, I love the animation. I don't like Phil Collins' music in general, so that does not do it for me. I do not care for what's her name as Gorilla. Rosie O'Donnell as Gorilla. I don't mind. I wish we had more Brian Blessed as villain.
Villains, yeah, that was good.
You need to listen to his audiobook on his memoirs, and he talks about being in that movie and how he literally crashed a plane getting there. It's a legendary story, and it's like one of the 4 times he's had a plane crash. In his life. He's great. Brian Blessed is great. I almost wanted to say Brian Ferry, and he's also great, but like in a different way. What about you, Grayson? What was a particular favorite standout moment from this feature film brought to you by Disney Incorporated? The film company that now owns Fox.
They own like majority companies, don't they?
There was this great post that someone made where it's like the timeline of Disney, where it's like Disney buys out Fox becomes Disney in 2019, and then 2020 Disney goes to Warner Brothers refuses, 2021 they buy this, and then it's like 2028 Disney storms Warner Brothers offices with their paramilitary troop, and then 2029 is like Warner Brothers is now owned by Disney, and then
so
it's like
my favorite bit of this, there's a shot that I think is coming up at the
Diane Weist's hairy chin.
No. The idea that this child can sketch like that. Anyway,
Picasso.
My favorite bit of this is a favorite shot because I just like the way it moves. I just think it's very good.
Beautiful.
It's coming out where they're at the final soccer game, and Jennifer Garner's character Cindy, is that her name?
Yeah, that's her name.
Cindy's on the bench, and she's talking to her sister, and her sister just is talking some like horrible bullshit.
Yeah, garbage, as relatives often do.
And then Jennifer, and like for whatever reason, Jim, her husband, is like on the other side of the bench, probably because he hates her sister. Who knows? And she slides across the bench towards him, and the camera follows her.
I love that shot. That's such a great
beautiful movement. It's
a
so
great
good.
shot. I like how Diane Weist is playing the Meryl Streep character from The Devil Wears Prada in this. Like that very like I'm the rich authoritarian boss who's kind of, you know, vulnerable, but also don't mess with me.
But Miranda Priestley like has vision and insight. And
is that the name of Meryl Streep's character?
Yes.
Sorry, so you have to clarify that because I've seen that movie once and I didn't like it.
Okay.
I liked Confessions of a Shopaholic way more.
I've seen both of those films. I don't.
We did one on the show.
Is Hugh Dancy Confessions of a Shopaholic?
Yeah, and John Lithgow's in it too.
That's right, Johnny Lithgow.
See, it's already becoming a better movie as we discuss it over Devil Wears Prada. I mean, that movie does have the Tooch, Stanley Tucci, who's apparently a big topic of conversation for the gay community on the size of his nipples. But go on, you were saying?
Like Miranda Priestley, she has she's there for a reason because she's very good at fashion. She's good at the fashion. Yeah. Whereas Diane Weist, sorry.
Diane Yeast infection.
I was thinking of the Brooklyn Nine-Nine joke. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Lin-Manuel Miranda's in that now too. Ooh. Does he wear a cravat? You have to tell me.
No, he doesn't. I haven't seen it, but he doesn't.
I gave up on that show.
So Diane Weist, she isn't really anything but horrible, is she? Except for at the end where she's like, "What's the truth, young man?"
And I thought she was pretty nice in this segment here. At the end, she does fire Jennifer Garner, but the reasoning is it still goes into Jennifer Garner goes too far.
Really far.
She goes really far. Like she was actually being really sincere about like why didn't anyone tell me this, and then Jennifer Garner's like if you died and they asked me to be a poll, and then of course you're gonna fire her after the same comment like that. Like if I said that to you, you wouldn't come back to this podcast. Could you imagine if I sincerely said if you died and someone asked me to be your pallbearer, I would say no. Mainly because I imagine all the other pallbearers would be really short because you're short, and I imagine everyone you know is short, and then I'd be like having to crouch down a bit. It'd be really awkward.
I mean, I know you.
Yeah.
And you're not short.
Yeah, but I think, with pallbearers, they're usually family, right?
Yeah, my brothers are a lot taller than me.
But are they taller than me?
Probably. What are you, 6'1"?
Yeah, 6'1", 6'2".
I don't actually know them. I think my brothers are also 6'1", but I haven't gone, "What are you?" to them in a while.
You should. Just go, "What are you?" with a raven. You send it via raven. Sign it in blood.
I wouldn't waste my ravens on that.
But I thought Diane Weist showed... Yeah, and then at the end she showed her...
You almost call it Diane Yeast.
No. I was about to run my words together of saying Diane Weist and blah, blah, and I was like, no, slow down, Ryan. I thought Diane Weist showed her true character within this sequence, but then also showed it more so at the town hall, which, by the way, I love me a movie or TV show that has a good town hall sequence. It always makes me think of the best town hall sequence. I don't know about you guys, but my favorite town hall sequence in anything ever, first episode of Twin Peaks.
Oh, okay. Back to the pallbearer thing. I feel like if not being like I would say no, but if someone asked, if I didn't know someone, if someone asked me to be a pallbearer at someone's funeral, I'm like, I shouldn't be a pallbearer at their funeral. I feel like it'd be okay to say no.
Is that what you carry the coffin?
Yeah.
I've done that.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh, were you relatively the same height as everyone else?
My brother, who's roughly my height, and 2 family friends who, I guess roughly the same height.
Okay.
My dad was a pallbearer recently, and it fucked his shoulder because he was the taller one, and he had to crouch, and then they stumbled a bit, and he was on the end that kind of caught the brunt of it, so it fucked his shoulder a little bit. So that's also another reason I don't want to be your pallbearer. If someone stumbled your corpse and I had to take the pressure of a whole coffin and you, I don't want to take that responsibility.
I wouldn't have a funeral where a pallbearer was part of it. I pretty firmly...
Oh, you just want to be wheeled out?
No, I want to be cremated. I also don't know if I necessarily want my... Also, I don't...
You don't want to be turned into a tree?
Isn't that really expensive?
Yeah, but let's say in the future you have money.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we'll be realistic. You died homeless and alone.
Jesus Christ!
In the cold of the night.
God, that's so mean.
It's up to Sam Beckett to quantum leap back and save your life.
Why the cold of the night? Good God.
Because that's what happens to homeless.
Why are you Scrooging me? How dare you? I don't have, obviously I'm 23, so I don't have any plans for my funeral, but,
You got to think about it, though.
Do I?
Yeah, our university teacher, Liam, he tells us in his funeral insurance ads that you got to be choosy.
Okay.
So you got to be choosy about it.
I'm kind of the funeral's not for me because I'm dead, so whatever my relatives want to do. Although I would put it in certain relatives' hands. I would be like, this is the relative that's planning my funeral.
What about me? Can I plan it?
Absolutely not.
Why
Because
not?
you'd have me shot out of a cannon or something.
No, I'd be respectful. Viking funeral. Burn you.
Okay, to be honest, Viking funeral would be on the list.
Well, then get me.
But
I'll do it.
Certain aspects of a Viking funeral would be illegal because you would have to retrieve the body from the body of water that you're.
Oh yeah.
Also, it might not be pallbearer, but you have to have someone carry you to the river, lake, or whatever.
You could put me on a dolly, wheel me out, be fine.
Yeah.
We should do that for funerals.
Fun fact:
By the
I
dolly.
read the Catholic News Organization's review for this movie.
Oh right.
I did not bring it because it was not overall that interesting, but it did have some nice words of wisdom.
Is that
which
one of
was
those websites with the family? This.
Oh
your
yeah,
kids
yeah.
can
But
watch
this movie, Ahmet Zappa blends in Wiccan and Christian faiths too heavily on the Wiccan for our liking, like that kind of thing.
Wicked stuff, excuse me.
Wiccan stuff? I don't know. Nature becoming alive? I don't know
okay.
Wiccan stuff, but Christianity's not that kind of shit. It's like you die and then maybe you get resurrected if you're a good boy or girl or animal, depending what era we want. Horse Pope. Hope. Is that what we call them? The
Horse
Hope?
Pope. The Hope.
I love that we live in a world in which one of the trending topics on the internet was Marilyn Manson's going to be in the new Pope.
In the new Pope?
Yeah, the TV show in which Jude Law plays the Pope. And Marilyn Manson's going to be in it as something. I hope that he plays...
Is the show called The New Pope?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was called The Young Pope, and now it's The New Pope. The second season's The New Pope or something like that?
Because he's no longer young because he is Jude Law.
Okay.
Is the Pope in The New Pope still Jude Law? Or is Oh, okay.
But Marilyn Manson's involved.
Hooray!
Huzzah, you mean? I love Jude Law. You don't like Jude Law? He's my favorite part of the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock movies. I'm just like, this guy's way too good to be Watson. Better than Martin Freeman.
I rewatched the first one recently. Every now and then they're like, we're actually making a third one.
Yeah.
But then they don't.
I'd be up for it. I like those ones a bit more.
Yeah,
than,
they hit at the perfect time.
I
for
think
me.
I think the Moriarty is better in that than the Sherlock series because it's like they do the old, the old Moriarty and Sherlock. They're like the same person, different sides of the same coin. It's like no, the Sherlock one is a crazy man who licks things, and
Moriarty's a crazy man who cackles.
yeah, well the one in the Sherlock
yeah.
Guy Ritchie one is like a cold, calculating professor who's an organizer of
Has a sleeve
wars.
gun.
And a sleeve gun, and he plays chess. And you're like, that's my Moriarty. The best Moriarty, of course, is Niles from The Nanny in Star Trek: The Next Generation, in which he becomes sentient because they program an opponent to defeat Data. And that means they program something to become sentient because Data is sentient.
I thought you were going to say Niles from Frasier, and I was like, what is happening?
Well, Niles from The Nanny is also a great choice.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, think about him. Great choice.
But I thought you were just going to be like Niles as in David Hyde Pierce in Frasier.
I mean, I think they probably would have done something with him like that. Are you kidding me? He would have done something.
They are brothers.
I mean, yeah, they are brothers. So, Bartek, did you find the scene visually engaging? Would you make something like this if you had the time and the effort?
Well, Ryan, I could have those things, but do I have the talent, is the question.
You're right. No kid for you.
This was, though, if
The
we were
adoption agency puts a cross in Bartek's box and
perfect in all senses except talent.
How quickly did it occur to you that they were talking in an adoption agency place? Did it strike you immediately or later on in the film? Because they don't set it up straight away immediately, that's what it is.
Yeah, there were thoughts in my head that it's like something along those lines. And then when it was
Yeah.
adoption agency, it's like, okay, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I picked it up relatively quick. But it was still like, or they could have been adopting a puppy. We don't know.
Oh, the slide's about to happen, the slide.
The famous slide.
The thing you like.
Oh, I just love love
it's
how
such a great
smooth
shot.
it is and how
Well,
fluid
Jennifer,
it is.
Jennifer
smooth.
Garner's pretty smooth. She moves like a spider
Also,
or a crab.
Like we were talking before this, I don't really know why Jennifer Garner's hated. You say she's not a good actor.
No, I don't say hated. Why is she popular?
Okay.
Like for what she has done, they're not very good things. Like movie-wise, quality-wise, like it's just Alias and Suddenly 30, which isn't regarded highly as a
you
great
said
piece.
Electra, right?
And Electra and Daredevil, but those aren't considered high pieces of art. But she's in everything.
Is she the mum in Juno, or is that someone else?
That is her.
That is her. She was all right in Juno, was she not?
Was she in Alexander in the Terrible
Yeah,
Horrible?
but she always plays like that woman who's the wife or mum who makes the sweet face, like oh, like that, and you go, okay, but like, what makes her stand out?
I like how their sister, like, you slid away from me.
It's so weird because I kept thinking her sister was Kristen Wiig, but then it's not. But you know what I mean? Like she looks like I could be played by Kristen Wiig. Am I wrong? I could see Kristen Wiig playing
If this was a different movie, yeah.
Oh no, what are you talking
Do you
about?
know-
Kristen Wiig's done very serious role. Like,
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
have you seen Mother?
But no, of course I haven't.
She's in Mother.
Okay.
Or as it should be called, it's a lowercase m and then an exclamation mark. It should be pronounced Mother.
I was more talking about it would be a better movie if like it would.
Oh, you discrediting this actress?
No.
The actress is Rosemary DeWitt.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I
wish my name was Rosemary DeWitt.
Kristen Wiig could absolutely do dramatic. Have you seen Skeleton Twins?
Of course.
Did you like Skeleton Twins?
Loved it.
It was a good one.
My favourite person in it was Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson was really good at it.
Yeah, I've talked about this on the podcast before where we had Luke Wilson. And I'm like, you know what you should check out? Skeleton Twins. Because he plays like a really
that a
interesting
movie?
character. Yeah. Bill
Okay.
Hader, Kristen Wiig. And it's like her roommate or his roommate is like Luke Wilson. He's just like a flatmate.
No, he's her husband, isn't
Oh,
he?
husband. It's been so long. I just remember.
Roommate, husband.
No, I just remember, like, he didn't lean too heavy on, like, I'm the husband. It's just, like, he
Yeah.
kind of is, like, I'm a dude. He's like Luke Wilson, but they put him in a serious movie.
Do you know what the sister's character's name is?
I actually do not remember now you're saying it, but I used to remember
Yeah, I'm
because
looking-
I was looking at her
'cause I've got-
name
I've got
before.
the-
But you know when you
yeah.
get asked, like, what's your middle name? And you're like,
Logan.
Logan Paul.
Fuck off.
Logan as in Wolverine?
People say that all the time because my name is Grayson Logan Brown, and people are like, Grayson, Dick Grayson, and Logan Wolverine. I'm
No,
like,
I know you better. Grayson as in Grayskull, the villain from the He-Man. I know.
And Brown, like Brown Hornet. Just all the superheroes.
And Logan, as in Logan Paul.
My name would be Grey if my last name wasn't Brown.
Ah.
Yeah. Excuse me?
That's Grayskull. You know what I love about Grayskull? I literally wrote this in my notes because I thought of Grayson being our guest for this episode, so I even wrote it in my notes. I need to bring this up. What I love about Grayskull is you look at Grayskull, he looks like death, right? Like skeleton face. But I love that he's muscular. Like he's
His
a big
name is Skeletor, is it not?
Oh no. Which one's Grayskull?
Grayskull's the castle. Isn't it?
Grayskull's the castle. Okay. Skeletor from Grayskull. Power Grayskull. I love that Skeletor is a magical wizard man who's buff and is a skeleton, but I love that his voice is
the best.
Yeah, I'm an evil voice. Wouldn't he have like a deep booming like Darth Vader, like I'm evil? But he sounds like a nerd that you would punch very hard. I just love it. Now, you know what we have to say here.
The sister's name?
Not enough cowbell. Need more.
I wrote in my notes that this scene
Would be weird if you aren't the movie, because the movie provides the music for the real song.
like the actors are doing their best, but like I wrote in my notes, this scene makes me cringe so hard I might clip through the floor. Because like I was in my bed and it was like 1:30 a.m. and I was watching this and I was like, oh, I can't skip forward because I bought this off YouTube.
My
Such
favorite
a shame.
I
Wait,
love
you
it.
bought it off YouTube? Didn't you say
I
you watched
rented, sorry.
Oh.
You can rent things off YouTube.
Yeah,
Bartek,
Didn't you watch a cropped copy?
No.
I watched the first 10 seconds and I was like, I can't watch this. It's,
Yeah.
who knows
okay.
what
Also,
I'll
it's
miss.
20 minutes shorter.
Okay, you had
so.
sense. Okay, that's
So Bartek, what's the sister's name?
Yeah, I just noticed that her character's name, it's got the very fairy tale thing. Her name's Brenda Best.
Yeah.
Does
like
that
her
mean
whole
that
thing is-
Cindy's maiden name was Best? Cindy
Yeah.
Best?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wasn't she married? The sister?
Yeah, but maiden name. Oh yeah,
Oh,
sister.
yeah,
Sister's
sorry.
married. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Uncle Bob's last name? That will solve all the answers.
His first name is Bob and last
Maybe.
name's Uncle.
Well, how do you know his first name's Bob? Maybe his last name
meant it
is
the other way
Bubbles and his nickname Bob.
His first name's Uncle, his
Well,
last
wait,
name's
hold
Bob.
on. What name do you abbreviate for Bob? Like,
Bubs.
no, but like that's not a name.
Fuck, he's got you there. I don't think it's a name abbreviation nickname. I think it's like a my friends. It's like a context nickname.
But would you call? I guess. But
Like
would you
mine-
call someone who's basically your father figure Uncle Bob?
It might be that he's the small, like he's the youngest of the family, and everyone like he's the
I mean,
baby, so he's Bubs.
He's
or something.
Emmet Walsh. I mean, or maybe he's really tough and he's just like, don't mess with me, Bub.
Maybe his name's
Maybe.
Bubbles.
Yeah, maybe.
The monkey.
No.
No, the Powerpuff Monkey.
Oh, the Powerpuff Monkey. That's Mojo Jojo.
That is true.
Do you know how many cats are named after Mojo Jojo? And hell yeah, do that. Name your cat after Mojo Jojo.
No, how many cats?
At least 2.
At least 2.
Yeah.
One Mojo and the other Jojo.
Yeah.
Why not name one Mo and then the other Joe and then the other Joe and then the other Joe? Then you can cover a variety
And
of
you've got
cats.
3 Joes.
Well, Ryan,
Well,
the
they're
problem,
spelled different.
Well, the
Oh,
problem,
I see. There's umlauts.
the problem there, Ryan, is that some of them would have the same name, so you have to give one
But make
like
sure-
Modge and one O.
Make sure not to drop them, okay? Because they don't like being dropped.
What, cats?
Yeah, they hate it, apparently.
They're fine with it.
No, apparently you're not allowed to do that. There's a big debate we've had on the podcast.
Really?
I debated that you can, Bartek's like you shouldn't.
I mean, you
that
shouldn't
wasn't my contention for the millionth time.
I mean,
but go ahead, Ryan.
You shouldn't just be dropping cats left, right, and centre. But if you were to,
I mean, you
say-
can, though.
I suppose.
They have reflexes.
If you
It's
drop,
perfectly
like,
fine
from-
just to drop a cat.
From like a person's arm height.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what you drop them from.
Like you shouldn't necessarily you shouldn't just like open your hands and let the cat fall. Like you
Why
should
not?
like make the motion like lower to the ground.
Why not? Because they just land on their feet anyway.
I mean, do you want to be kind to your animals?
yeah, but that isn't cruelty.
It's not cruelty, but it's like there's not cruelty
well,
and
they
there's
don't
like
put- the-
loving and nurturing.
Yeah, but that can also... But it's the
Are
thing
we
of...
rehashing?
Yeah,
the
we're
same
rehashing
argument?
That was my point, but did you hear how he described my point?
Yeah.
You can't do that, it's wrong. That was my point, the one that you just gave, Grayson.
Yeah, but I still think it's a valid point. I mean, then why you shouldn't put socks on cats? You shouldn't tie a piece of string to their tail. You shouldn't do anything ever.
I mean,
Ryan, you brought this up.
I know, and I'm bringing it
You're
back.
you're just such a fucking contrarian.
No, I genuinely believe this. Like, I'm not bringing it up just to be contrarian for the sake of contrarian. I'm like, I genuinely like, well, why is this a thing that has to worry about?
The last time you brought it up, I just said this: it's okay to do it. I just didn't because I didn't want to.
It's like a cat can, like, a cat can deal with that, but it's like if you love your cat and you want to be kind and like you don't just go, well, done with you, and like huck them on the couch. Like,
But it's fun. Because cats can survive. You don't do it to a dog.
So glad you don't have a cat.
No, but you see, you're saying it like I'm being this cruel monster, but there is a thing of just like, you can make a cat go like that. You can just throw them over there onto the couch. You can, and they'll just be fine, and they'll just walk off.
See, I've never had to do that, because anytime I did carry my cat, it would just jump off on its own. So
Yeah, obviously. They do that too. I think the main contention we actually had with the argument was it never, ever, 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 ever occurred to Bartek that he could ever, ever, ever drop his cat. And I was just like, that's kind of weird.
Well, no, the idea was there because I knew the whole thing of like, oh, they land on their feet or whatever. I just didn't want to drop it.
Cats have an absurd amount of free will. So if you're at a point where you are able to drop the cat, like the cat hasn't already like jumped out of your arms or whatever, like that cat clearly.
Yeah, my cat wasn't big on.
But
being
are they
carried,
sentient?
So, yeah.
I don't. Why don't look at me like that? Anyway, the movie.
Well, no,
Australian government's voting. Yes, they are in a couple of days.
Wasn't there a recent?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a recent study that's like discovered that cats can recognize their names, but just don't.
Anything can recognize their name if you really train them. A lizard can.
Well, isn't that a sort of sentience?
I mean, it's a sort of ability to remember Beck and Cole. I mean, that's not necessarily sentience.
What's the lizard can?
Well, I had a pet blue-tongue lizard. They could remember their name.
No, but what's a lizard can?
What do you mean? A lizard can remember their name.
A lizard can. What's a lizard can?
Oh, you're being contrarian. Dick.
I don't know what you're talking about. What's a lizard can?
It's like the cheapest I've ever seen Grayson.
Diaries. But we're missing the soccer game.
Well, that's a reference to another guest.
Yeah, I know, but it's the same rule. We're missing the famous soccer game in which Commons says stay still and Joel Edgerton says move, move, move. Who would you follow?
This would be really, really difficult for me as a child.
Oh, it would have been fine for me. My dad was the coach, so it would have been fine.
But would it be a case of like your dad as your dad would tell you to do it, but your dad as a coach would tell you not to?
I mean,
so which personality would you listen to?
My dad cares way too much about soccer than me as a child in those situations, so he would have been saying it as a coach. Right. And I mean that sincerely. Like it push comes to shove. If he says do this, he's saying it as a coach, not as dad wants me to succeed more. Plus, I played defensive, so like my dad was always like, "Oh, you should try striker or more offensive." I'm like, I like defense. I was way better at defensive.
When I played netball, I was very good at defense. I was the wings. I was an interchangeable wing attacker, wing defense.
Wings,
and people
and
were
defense,
like, you can get rid of the wings, but I was like, no, that's
in soccer you can't really get rid of the wings. So you get rid of the sweeper. That's no longer a position.
Fuck the sweeper.
In this sequence of the film, this is right after where I learned the whole thing of he's losing leads when he achieves the goals. This was where the thing that was coming to my head was surprisingly an Adam Sandler film.
Oh, I'm very glad. Is it going to be Big Daddy? Is it going to be Click?
It's going to be Bedtime Stories.
Oh, one we've covered.
Yes.
Good.
Because in that film...
The one with Russell Brand?
Yes, that's true.
And Kerry Russell.
Russell Brand's been on a couple of times.
Yeah, like two or three.
At least two, yeah, definitely. Because in that film, the whole thing was that he discovers that the kids that he's telling the bedtime stories to are affecting events in real life.
Yeah.
And there actually comes a point where he wants to try to manipulate that, and something unexpected happens. Like, in their story, they mentioned, like, and then he gets burnt.
To death
or something like that. And then in real life, he's trying to avoid all these fires, but then he gets fired, and he realizes,
I love that bit as well. I'm the mum of that, and he does this weird
thing. And then take out his knees!
Put him on the
Which
ground.
you can't do in soccer, by the way.
You can't just take a knee from someone.
No, you can't. Like, soccer's one of those games which I have had arguments with PE teachers about, where they go, soccer's actually a non-contact sport. It's like, no, you're wrong, but you're not allowed to tackle people in a way that you can in other games. Like, you can't, like, kick their knees out. You have to go for the ball and slightly nudge, but you're not, like, full on. But, yeah.
And so it came to the point where this game was happening, and they were realizing, oh yeah, this is what's going to happen. He's going to score the winning goal. And I was thinking to myself, is there going to be like a twist on that?
Yeah.
And there was. He scored
It
the
was
winning
such a,
goal
like,
against himself.
A genie's wishes moment.
Yeah, like
that.
yeah. And you know who made bedtime stories? Disney. Both of these films are Disney movies. Connections. Yes. And you know who did Aladdin? Talking about genies? Disney. Man, I can't wait for Will Smith to fuck up Genie nice and good. I just can't wait for him just to shit all over Robin Williams' grave with his performance.
Calm
No,
down.
don't you ever get that when you see like those things? You're like, oh, I'm salivating to see how much of a terrible thing it's going to be. Like, I can't wait for Lion King. Everyone's looking forward to Lion King genuinely, and I'm just like, no Jeremy Irons, no Ryan, and I'm just like, but also I'm just like, these fucking emotionless cats that can't emote because they're felines.
I don't like Schadenfreude on nearly a high enough level as you do.
Well, Disney deserves it though.
Oh,
Because they're an evil corporation that's ruining everything for money. So I think they perfectly deserve it. It's not like I'm shitting on like some poor struggling independent
Yeah, it's not like you're
artist.
like this fucking indie movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like you know, but Disney, I think you can do it and go. And Will Smith,
I guess if there
the
is
most
anyone you're
corporate-
going to have it for.
Will Smith, the most corporate tool that there is at the moment.
But more what I was saying, I was not saying like you shouldn't be doing that, Ryan.
You just don't do
bad
it as much
mad
as
man.
me.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah.
But don't you do it for anything at all?
Probably.
Sonic the Hedgehog, come on.
I don't care.
But don't you come on, can't you just smile about the fact that they made this creature?
I wish James Marsden would have a win in his career. I don't know why I want that.
Well, James Marsden likes working with animated rodents. Hop. He was in Hop.
He wasn't hot.
And, of course, X-Men. He's working with a Wolverine, for Christ's sake. With animated claws. Yeah, I brought it back. So this is a very emotional scene, you know. This is very heart-wrenching, you know, when parents are fighting and they're fighting over basically you, but not you. And it is a
How did you deal with it?
gut-wrenching thing. Me? You know, it's a very emotional thing, you know. This is a very tough scene. In all honesty, not to brag about myself, but it was more my older sister would be the one that my parents would be arguing about, so that kind of made it more awkward.
Brag?
Well, because it makes it seem like I'm a good child that never
okay.
had anything in which my parents would have big blowouts, but it was mainly more my sister. Like, you know, like, I don't know, you both have siblings. Were you the one, or were other ones in your family ones that got more of the kind of vitriol or stuff from parents, or what? Like, because for me it was more my sister, and it kind of made it more embarrassing for me. Like, I'm just like, oh no, like am I doing things too right? Like, you know, no, seriously, like, I don't know,
Okay.
that's my brain. I have that in me. I'm like, but
No, I think growing up there was a sort of balance.
yeah,
Well, we were both generally pretty good.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
sometimes, one of us would do something wrong.
Oh, look, showing her birthmark. She's proud now. She's evolved. She's a free
She's
free girl.
photosynthesized, and now she's free.
But she's a freak. She has a birthmark.
Good God.
She's a Mary
Says the
Sue
guy who
because of her
also has a
birthmark.
We
we all.
know nothing about her.
I mean, we all have birthmarks.
I don't.
What do you mean you don't?
I don't.
You're a liar. You must have a birthmark.
Not everyone has a birthmark.
I'm sure. Doesn't everyone have a birthmark of some variety?
Do you?
Yeah.
Where is it?
I have several. Like they're not
Are
huge.
you talking about freckles?
No. I have actual birthmarks. I just have to remember where they are. 'Cause you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like.
You talking about, like, on Grayson's arm there? Like the dots?
No,
kind of
they're
thing, or what?
freckles. I'm trying to
got a
think
lot of
where my
freckles.
birthmarks are. Now you got me questioning them. I'm just like, my first thought is, look at my arms because I can see them. Like, I do. I just can't remember where they are off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure I have one on my leg. Also, it's hard because sometimes my old scars kind of look...
Like birthmarks?
Yeah, because they fade into like a brownish... I'm trying to look. Why? I love that you're both looking at me, inspecting me.
I mean, you're inspecting me even though I'm fully
No,
clothed.
I mean, I'm not, like, going around looking at it. I'm just looking for
Yeah,
what
we're
you're trying
not
to show me.
touching you. You're just opening. You're like you're.
Well,
pulling
you
up
got
your
me
pant
wondering
leg.
now. I do have a birthmark.
I know, you just acting like we're doing something. We're literally just looking at you, looking at
know.
yourself.
Like
Yeah.
is that it? Is that it there?
Where?
There on your shin, or is that?
Oh,
a
that's
bruise?
that.
Is that? Yeah, that's
That's
a
a
birthmark.
birthmark, and that's a scar there.
Oh, okay.
Wheel yourself so I can see it.
Wheel yourself.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I saw that without you telling me it was a birthmark, I might have thought it was a bruise or something.
Yeah,
to
but
be
like
honest,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like, not all birthmarks are like
Poor
Gorbachev.
Weinstein. Old Gorbachev over here. Old Gorby.
Old Gobby,
Gorbachev.
What is it with you?
you evoked it.
So
Gobby, for those not in the know, is an Australian vernacular term for blowjob.
I mean, not
Or free Maccas, please.
not current Australian vernacular.
People still use it.
Do they?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, admittedly, we all speak from a level of privilege in which we don't live in those suburbs in which people who use it do.
That's true.
But if you just go down to Frankston, you're gonna hear it.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. I'm almost positive that I don't have a birthmark unless it's on a part of my back that I've never seen or the top of my head that I haven't shaved that closely.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got shitloads of scars.
I got one on my thumb.
Is that a scar or a birthmark?
It's like a weird little birthmark,
Weird
like a little
little-
brown smudge.
It's like a dent.
It's not a dent.
I'm sorry.
There's
am I
no actual
looking
skin dent. It's just like a little brown. Welcome to our podcast,
at-
in which it's now Gorbachev and birthmark o'clock. Oh, I just wanted to say, this actor here, this is his last cinematic role. He died, unfortunately. He's the father of Ron Livingston's character. And this guy here, he was in a ton of stuff. Like, this guy was just in everything. Like, if you look at him, you'll think, oh, I've seen him in stuff.
Is he James Rebhorn?
Yeah, Rebhorn. Yeah. He was in a ton of stuff. Like, if you just look up his IMDb, there's probably something you've seen him in, and he was just there as just like a minor character. But, it's always kind of upsetting when, you see an actor's final performance in a film and, they don't get much time to shine. But, he gets his moment and he plays it, and, character actors are what really make movies in the end. I mean, like, who's some of your favorite character actors?
I don't know if we've discussed this on the podcast before, but I have real trouble knowing what a character actor is because when people are like,
Well, Steve Buscemi's a character actor.
yeah, people say that, and like it's really hard for me to get my brain around because isn't every actor play a character?
No, yeah, but let's just say George Clooney isn't a character actor. He is just a leading man actor.
Character actor tends to refer to characters that play like larger than life characters, you'd say?
Or specific types of characters, like how Peter Lorre always played little creeps.
Okay.
Or Steve Buscemi always plays weirdos. Or how Emmet Walsh always plays the weird kooky old men. Or
like is Melissa McCarthy a character actor then?
she's a caricature.
What is the difference?
No. I mean, yeah, on a level she is, but the problem is she's also like a leading person, like leading actress.
Oh, they can't be leading?
No, just more when you're more of a leading person, you have a specific type. It's more of the fact that you just do that all the time. It's like how,
Rowan Atkinson?
yeah, it's hard because Rowan Atkinson also did a lot of supporting roles and things like like all his movie roles. Like he's not like he's a character actor in movies like Four Weddings and a Funeral. He likes to play those priest roles, like in what's the one where Maggie Smith is like the murdering mother?
Oh, Keeping Mum?
Keeping up with Mum or something.
Keeping Mum.
Keeping Mum. I saw that in cinema.
Bartek nailed it the first
I saw that in cinema too,
Keeping Up with the Mum.
in which a whole family exited the movie as soon as nudity appeared in the M-rated movie. Funny, But yeah, there are certain character actors that are always fun to see. Steve Buscemi's always a classic. You have Michael Shannon. He's another. I love Michael Shannon.
Just your wall of characters. So Miriam Margolyes is a character actor?
Oh yeah, she's never a lead.
Okay, so they can never have been a lead.
I mean, not always. I mean, Steve Buscemi's been a lead in several things, and Harry Dean Stanton's been a lead in several things, but he's a character actor.
Who's Harry Dean Stanton's most recognizable character?
Paris, Texas, that movie. You haven't seen it? He's just basically playing Harry Dean Stanton in the desert. That's like the easiest way to describe.
Do people think Lin-Manuel Miranda's character is gay because of the cardigan?
And also because he says in a very flamboyant voice,
Yeah,
it's okay to be different, and he says
Okay.
spectacular.
Okay.
And also he's the town botanist, and also he wears scarves and cravats and a paisley shirt and has a cardigan.
And he has a
and he's-
very, very good female friend.
Yeah, and also I guess he wrote a musical in real life, so people are like, gay!
The part where he kissed the guy also.
You know how
gave
people are.
signs.
I mean, he's married to a woman.
Yeah, but people don't think about that. People also get shocked when you reveal that this person isn't, like, it's just, ugh. But people don't do the digging research. Like, I didn't know he was married.
I've just listened to him on a podcast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't assume, but I'm just like, people make these leaps because, again, certain character traits of things.
Oh, Common appeared to have a wife there.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh
He had
my
his
God.
arm around someone, I thought.
Maybe it was a trophy.
Oh, shut up. Entire woman.
No, like a really big trophy that he won for
Trophy
being the
wife?
best coach. Because at the end, he has a trophy.
Did you just fly into Joel Edgerton's arms?
Well, wouldn't you want to fly into Joel Edgerton's arms?
I know nothing about Joel Edgerton.
Should have been like
Well,
a
he's
reverse-
Australian.
I know that.
He was in Animal Kingdom, briefly.
Hmm.
He's kind of catalyst for that movie.
Isn't it interesting that Jackie Weaver's like breaking into like American cinema?
Yeah, she's been doing that for since Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, like a
I
while.
met her.
Really?
Yeah, it was odd. I was seeing Barry Humphries, and it was his farewell tour, and she was waiting backstage. And it was at that point where Jackie Weaver she had just done Animal Kingdom, but no one in Australia had really seen Animal Kingdom. And it was like, my mum's like, oh, look, it's Jackie Weaver. And me, I'm like, I'm aware of her, but she's not, at that point, she wasn't someone to be like, oh my God, I want to engage in this
Oh
moment.
my God, you're in Poms. I actually
Yeah.
want to see Poms.
Angelica Houston doesn't want to see Poms.
Oh,
but
what?
that's a whole ordeal. But Jackie Weaver was standing there, and I literally looked at her in the eyes, and Jackie Weaver looked at me in the eyes, and I went, oh, cool. And then I went back to waiting. Because it's like saying, it's like the same thing of, oh, look, Ryan, it's Joel Edgerton in 2011. Would you be like, oh my God, I've got to speak to Joel Edgerton right now? Like Jackie Weaver, great actress, but at that time hadn't done anything in particular that would make me want to get a picture, get an autograph. It's just like being like, oh, look, it's Grant Denyer.
Okay, but Ryan,
Like, do you want to stop? Do you want to go out of your way to speak to Grant Denyer? It's kind of more like neat.
I have like a long-running joke with a friend about Grant Denyer.
In his severe meth addiction that he had.
What?
Because, you don't remember this?
When?
When his wife used a... So, bit of context, Grant Denyer's like a TV personality here in Australia. He's a little man, little blonde.
Did he host Family Feud?
Yeah, hosted Family Feud and a number of things. He had a severe back injury and fucked up his back. And his wife was doing a new diet in which she was taking methamphetamines and meth and all this kind of stuff. And he got addicted to it himself.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yeah.
so when you saw her, did you actually out loud go,
Yeah.
oh, cool?
And then just went back to waiting. I mean, you know what I mean. Like, I wasn't being rude. It was just like, what do I have to say to her?
No, I know,
There's
just-
nothing for me to say, like, other than, oh, neat. It's an
I'm just
Australian actress.
I'm just thinking that in the most, cartoonish way, like, oh, cool, then blankly
No,
staring
I did
somewhere else.
exactly. No, I did exactly.
That's how I'd imagine it as well, but
No,
I didn't question
I did exactly that. I did
Okay.
exactly that.
Okay.
I thought it was just like a
And,
moment of realization, oh, cool,
A
in
bit
my
of
head.
a bit of context. I was standing in a
Is the horror movie cut?
Oh yeah, here's.
Yeah.
I was standing in a tie-dye suit because it was a special occasion. I was meeting one of my idols, Barry Humphries, so had to wear the special tie-dye suit that I own, which I'm pretty sure is in the cupboard next to Grayson actually. But yeah,
Is that the one that you wore in that stand-up comedy show you did?
yes. And also ordered I bought it for my school formal. And that year, for miraculous reason, they got rid of the $100 reward for best dressed.
Oh.
So you-
Is it because I would have won?
So you wouldn't know who you lost to.
Why didn't they want to give you $100?
They at least gave me the cutting of the cake.
Okay, that's.
I mean, it was a shit cake, but like...
the
you
sheet
know.
cake. It crumbled.
They just
when I
gave me
tried
a
to cut it.
fake plastic crown.
Oh no, they're digging in the mud, guys.
What'd you win, Bartek?
That wasn't really a win thing, but
Oh, you actually-
year 10 formal, they liked the suit I wore.
Oh, year
That's
10
cool.
formal. Is
Yeah.
that called? Isn't that called the Deb?
No, it was a
It
school
depends
thing.
what
I don't
sort
know
of-
what the Deb is.
I'm from New South Wales, so maybe different rules.
Is Deb a Christian school thing?
No,
Okay.
debutante ball was year 10's celebration. Then the formal was year 12.
Because we didn't have Deb.
Oh, okay.
Deb the women wear all white dresses?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have Deb.
I've heard of Deb, and I've
I
known
didn't
people
do
that have gone
Deb.
to them, but I have no idea what it is.
I didn't do Deb because that's way more formal. You have to dance and wear specific outfits, and I'm just like, fuck that shit.
What suit did you wear, Bartek?
Just a grey suit.
Hell yeah. Of course I like that.
because brown.
Grey.
It's grey, son.
Grey, son.
Grey skull.
Oh, God.
To be fair, it was a costume formal, but I didn't have a costume. I just wore a
Oh,
suit.
I
Kinda
hate you even
cheating.
more now. You should have been like me
A
when.
costume formal. What was the theme?
Characters. There was a Mario.
Oh, so it
there
was
a
like our
Sailor
friend.
Moon.
It was a Mario and you won best dressed.
What?
I don't know.
Seriously, fuck you. I
When they got-
would have
No,
been
no.
so annoyed if I'm sitting there in my
Dude, you know-
Rasputin outfit and I'm like, he won.
Hey, you know what it was? It was like they
Rasputin.
called me on stage and I
The
didn't
pop
even know.
song, yeah, of course.
No, I was thinking Rasputin from Anastasia.
Oh no, that's a historical person.
Oh, I know, but I'm like, I was about to be like Rasputin.
No, the one from Hellboy.
Okay. Did you have a little bat on your shoulder? I'm still on Anastasia.
I didn't dress up as I didn't dress up as Rasputin. My school never did anything fun with costumes or anything like that.
Did
The
you have
first
like a
thing that
Spirit Week?
What?
You didn't have a Spirit Week at the end?
No, God. No.
Yeah, because we had that instead of Muck Up Day, and I went as Weird Al one day, and my
No.
mum did
Oh,
a
we had
little
slave.
mustache
We
on
had a
me.
slave day.
What?
Oh yeah, where it was like
That's awful.
you could buy these group of Year 12 people for slaves.
Good God.
Yep.
That's awful. Did the students come up with this?
Oh, this is an institutionalized thing.
What?
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah. No, hey guys, they're getting their leaves, by the way.
No, hang on. What are they?
So you want to know what I was? Because I was with all girls. Because all my friends were girls, still are. Mainly, most of my friends happen to be females because I find most guys repugnant. But I mean, they are. I mean, let's be honest. High five, down with the patriarchy. Boo.
You do that so often.
What reference previous podcast?
Oh, that's right. He's in a choir.
Yeah, and that makes it even gayer. But it was Little Bo Peep, and I was the shepherd. That was the aesthetic.
And you were sold?
Yeah, but we didn't actually do anything because I am the master of wiggling out of any actual responsibilities whilst getting praised for being responsible. I am a master manipulator. Masterful. Like, I genuinely did a great job. We got sold to one of the teachers.
This is so strange. This is awful.
And,
It was called slaves?
yeah, slave day. And then we...
What?
we
No one questioned this.
Oh, I did, but I was not local, so there you go.
You were not local.
Well, I was born locally, but, you know, my family's not from the town.
Okay.
So you're not local because they don't welcome you.
Oh.
I grew up in rural Australia where it's not the most inviting of places at times.
Okay.
So slave day. And the kid's dead now and they get a little Asian girl. In this
Oh.
movie.
I was just like...
I thought we should get back to the movie briefly to bring up the fact that they get a little Asian girl, which...
Wait,
you
there's
know...
one more thing I should mention about the pseudo war.
Oh, yeah?
One teacher asked me if I was Rain Man.
Oh, great.
Is it because of your demeanor?
No, because the suit was great.
I know you said suit I wore, but I thought you said pseudo-war, and I was like, when were we talking about a pseudo-war?
The
When I
pseudo
was
war with
saying-
Rain Man.
when I was in a war with my Sudoku kids, I do like the fact that they get a little Asian girl as well in terms of like one pretty progressive for a Disney movie. For them to at the end get like a interracial kind of family thing going on. That's kind of neat.
Yellow
But-
leaves.
Okay,
Jesus,
I
Bartek.
didn't bring that up.
Fuck off. Wow. That's not
I mean,
cool.
visually he's not wrong, but he is morally wrong. But ethically more like. But I did like the fact that also they had the expectations of having a natural birth, having the white picket fence society life in which they're going to have this, and this. They're going to have a kid that's going to be exactly like them. And at the end, they get a kid that is, an older kid, someone who's adopted, but also someone who is different to them. Like they happen to be a girl. They wanted a boy, and
No, they wanted a girl because
Oh.
there was a thing where they're like, we had like however many female names, like 50 girl names, whatever,
Ah.
and we only had one
one
male
boy.
name.
Oh,
Timothy.
Oh right, okay.
I forgot that, yeah.
You. Thanks for picking up that ball there.
Yeah, sometimes I have a memory, not often.
Sometimes I have a memory.
Sometimes.
So slave day, but
Golly.
but I was ahead of the little boy people, and we didn't do
The
anything
little
because
boy people.
little boy people. And we got a teacher that I knew straight off the bat I could manipulate into letting us do nothing. You know how you can just know.
So were you meant to like pick up? Like,
Oh, do whatever they
chores,
want you
or-
to do.
Oh, that's horrible.
I
Like,
know.
What would the teachers typically get?
I like how you're not asking where does the money go, because they buy you for cash.
I never even thought
Yeah.
of that.
It was just for school.
Okay.
For the school.
But what did the other teachers get? Like, what was a typical thing that a teacher would get you to do?
Wash their car.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm fucking serious.
Fucking weird.
Or do their paperwork or
Do their paperwork?
But you're going on the assumption that it's only teachers. We were lucky we got a teacher. It's mainly kids.
Other kids? Because
Yeah,
at first
and,
I thought only kids were buying.
No,
I think you had a
everyone gets that.
teacher.
Everyone gets to have a go.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Did you buy someone then?
I never bought anyone because I never had money.
Okay, fair.
But also I didn't really care.
Yeah.
I'm
Was
just-
it an
but-
auction?
Yeah, full on auction.
Awful.
But also my thing was most years above me, I wouldn't want to buy any of these people anyway because they were all dicks.
Yeah.
We were like, not to again brag, but the year above me and the year below me and our year, we were somewhat more popular with years below in comparison to some of the ones beforehand because there was that mentality of, year sevens, they don't fucking know anything, so don't talk to them. It's like, oh, that's kind of mean. I remember when I was in year 7, I would have liked some advice. Like, where's this room?
Yeah.
I remember literally asking, like, one of the seniors, like, hey, do you know where G Block is? And they just, like, snub you. I was like, I hate that mentality. Or in Kempsey, my hometown, I love how this turned into the Ryan show where it's like, let's
Kempsey chat.
interview Slave Day and Bartek's grey suit. I remember...
And my pseudo war.
You know what I love? As a grown-up now, I see all these teenagers on scooters. And when I was young, in my town, I can't speak for you guys, but in my town, if you rode a scooter, you were gay. Like that was just the automatic assumption. Like only gay guys ride scooters. We ride bikes.
Say an unfortunate word then.
Well, if you want me to say the real word,
Please don't say the real word. I'm begging you not to.
well, it's
I
not
have no
even a
idea.
full one. It was just gonna be fag. That was it. Like only puffs ride scooters.
Good God.
We ride bikes or have cars. So I could never I did have a scooter and I was that kid who just didn't give a fuck about what they thought, but it was that kind of mentality of no one else had scooters. But now I live in a world in which I see everyone has scooters and I'm just like, I remember in the day in which it would have been frowned upon to have a scooter by fellow peers, people who are now allowed to work in society and have children. But the movie ended. I know
Quite a while ago.
we delved into the Slave Day thing again.
No, well, you mentioned the conclusion, the Asian daughter.
The Asian daughter.
Yeah.
Let's get into our reviews and ratings of this bad boy of cinema. Bartek, I'd love to hear from you.
Well, before me, I'd just like to say that Roger Ebert was very good this time, right?
I think you gave it 3, right?
3.5 even out of 4.
Out of 4?
He does it
Yeah.
out of 4, yeah.
Cisco and Ebel did it out of 4.
I don't know shit about it.
Or 2 thumbs up.
Oh.
But that's not 4.
Well, they're videos. They did thumbs up, thumbs down.
So what was his reason behind 3.5?
I mean, did you see it? That's enough.
I mean, that is an answer. This movie had Happy Birthday to You in it, just like The Room.
Oh. Wonderful.
So, Bartek, let's hear from you.
I also love this film. I give it a 3.5 as well, but mine's out of 3.5. So it's a little bit different, you know? Yeah, it's really nice that this is a film from this decade that
Just sorry to interrupt.
That's only it's not the first time.
Georgia, we had that exact same thing for the Tyler Perry movie that we did recently.
did,
I just needed to bring it up
yeah.
before it was forgotten.
So was it set in the South or just
no,
shot in the South?
well, it's in the Midwest.
Was it in the Midwest or did we just assume that?
I think it's a Midwest thing, and I don't know where Georgia is. So
Georgia's in the South.
okay.
I mean, I say that confidently, but I also don't know how I know
It's
that.
so easy for Australia, where our states are Western Australia, Southern South Australia, Northern Territory, and then Queensland. But
And
come on,
New South
Bartek.
Wales.
Sorry, I just had to kind of bring that in because it's a nice little connection.
I can accept that interruption. But what was I saying? Yes, I really like that this is a film from this decade, earlier in the decade, but still this decade, that did have that fairy tale aesthetic to it, the aesthetic in the sense of storytelling.
Yeah.
Definitely, as you said this earlier, Ryan, we don't get a lot of films like this anymore. And I feel that is a shame, because there is a lot of cynicism in this world. And sure, you can argue that this...
Give those back, you absolute dickhead. Sorry, Bartek.
Sorry, I will keep this cynicism, Grayson. I will not give it back.
I'm so sorry. Ryan just took my glasses, and I'm so
I
irritated.
took Grayson's glasses and then I should have just stood up and waved them in the air. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like busy
It's like,
rubbing.
Ryan,
my
are you
eyes.
saluting?
Yeah, I'm saluting.
To
In
the Nazis, specifically.
Okay, no, none of that. Thank you
Do
very
you
much.
find it weird that the Nazis had two salutes? Like, the really militant one and then, like, the really casual one? You know they did that, right? They had the real casual one where they go like that. Like, it's hand gesture where they flip it over their shoulder.
I think
I find it
maybe
weird that the
seen
very militant, scary people had a strict Nazi salute, and it's just a casual one. Like, I'm too busy, I'm walking. I just find it interesting, but go on.
One of them didn't take off like the other.
Also,
unfortunately.
Hugo Boss, Nazis. Go on. Just got to remind everyone that Hugo Boss was a Nazi and help their uniforms. But, keep buying from him. Whatever. Go on. Same with Coco Chanel. Go on.
I'd like to
Hey,
go.
isn't Chanel now owned by a Jewish family?
Oh, great.
I could be wrong.
But people still think Coco was great.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But go on. Batomle.
I don't know where the fuck I was.
Just give it a thumb up.
In this cynical world.
At the very beginning of your chapter of this review.
Yeah, and then the three go-ons I've gotten since not being able to
Do
go on.
you want a fourth?
It is my lucky number.
Go on.
Thank you.
We interrupt you so much, Bartek, and I can only apologise.
That's
But I also
okay.
apologise every time I'm on.
I know you do, but you're not on every episode.
I have no regrets. I have things I need to say, and they need to be said loudly.
I accept the Georgia one, Ryan. The others, no, I don't know.
Well, Grayson interrupted with that one.
No,
And then
I
I
didn't.
went with Grayson, because he said the Nazi comment, and then you were like, fuck off with the Nazi comment. Then that made me comment on your comment. So, here we are.
The Nazi
Alright.
thing came after the Georgia thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm saying I take responsibility for the Georgia one, but this particular one we're in now, I'm not taking responsibility
Oh,
for.
because it sounded like you said I don't take like. The
Oh, no, I'll
Georgia
take the
thing.
responsibility, but he gave me a pass on that. I'm like, that's okay. But this one now, I'm not taking the
All right,
responsibility.
go on, Bartek. There's 5 for you.
No! Make it 8!
Go on.
Go
on. Go on.
But then
Just
Gra-
go on for one more.
But then Grayson said one of them, so now it's on 9!
Mine isn't German for no.
It is.
So, sorry, we're getting very unprofessional here. So, in the beginning of,
Was a fountain,
of youth,
but it wasn't just any
fountain. It was Disney's fountain, you see. But go on, Bartek. That's 10. In the age of cynicism.
In the age of cynicism, we need more like this. I think that's where I was going with this.
Is that it?
I think I had more, but it's all gone now.
Alright, my time.
Yeah.
You know what? In all seriousness, all silliness aside,
Yeah, go on.
this movie was really touching, and I appreciate a movie that is genuinely sweet and aims for the family, but also one that happens to be live action. I feel like we are losing those live action family movies. They're becoming fewer and far between. And I do like seeing actors getting their chance. Like, this is one of Joel Edgerton's first forays into American big movies. Like, this is a Disney movie. I mean, he was a minor role in the Star Wars prequels, but this is him getting a chance to shine. And, he's a great Australian actor and a great talent. And Jennifer Garner, it's great to see her face again. I'll dream about it. But, it's unfortunate that the kid, Timothy, has seemingly retired from acting. He hasn't gone on to do any more things. He was in Dan in Real Life, which was also made by the same person who did this. I think that this movie is a genuinely sweet thing. It has a pencil factory and a town hall meeting. So I give this movie a sweet old slave day auction at a high school in Australia out of I didn't go to the Deb Ball.
I still can't believe that actually happened at your high
I mean,
school.
we could talk more about it after the podcast.
I'd really rather not. That's truly terrible.
I'll show you pictures.
Please no.
It still goes on.
So, look, this movie, on the whole, was largely inoffensive. I agree that I do want to see more live-action family movies and kids' movies. It's unremarkable, inoffensive, palatable is a word I would use to describe it. I did like that I'm doing a very, very sweet movie on this podcast. That's a nice change, even though we still managed to talk about fucking Nazis.
Bend it like Beckham was sweet.
In parts, yeah, but this was like to the point of twee, like you said.
Okay.
Like nothing but like its
Yeah.
intent
It didn't
was
have
to be sweet.
Yeah, it didn't have any full-on moments like Bend It Like
Yeah.
Beckham did, like when they went shopping.
Okay. And I also appreciate, like, I keep calling this movie magic realism, which, to be honest, I don't really know the definition of magic realism enough, but let's pretend I'm right, because I want to.
Okay.
I like magic realism movies quite often that they miss the mark entirely.
Yeah.
And I wish there were more attempts at magic realism movies, which could, shoot me in the foot.
Have you seen a Monster Calls?
No, I haven't.
You'd like that.
It's a horror movie, is it not? A Monster Calls?
No.
Okay, what is this?
It's a magical realism movie
Oh,
about
cool.
like a young boy who's dealing with some grief in his life, and a magical tree talks to him, and I think the tree's, I can't remember his voice. It's voiced by some British actor. I'm pretty sure, like Ian McKellen or someone. I can't remember, but you'd like that.
Okay. Yeah. So Ryan and I were talking beforehand, and I thought this film took course like it happened in a week, and you were like, no, it's 6 months. Seasons change. I'm like, oh, I missed that entirely. So I give this movie Whimsy Out of Leaves.
That's probably one of the best. A whimsy out of leaves. So, Bartek, what did the interweb have to say about this masterclass of cinema?
Who told you that the internet said something?
I said interweb.
Who told you that the interweb said something?
Jesus.
Oh, he's such a tattletale.
Yeah, I know, right? This is major sin.
The internet did say words, Ryan.
Which apostle do you empathize with the most? I'm a Thomas. I doubt a lot.
I doubt that.
I doubt a lot of
We
things.
both made a doubt reference.
I doubt a lot of things.
Yeah.
You're real Judas. You are, Bartek.
You mean
I
that
think
I
you'd
have...
sell us out for gold and then hang yourself.
But it would be divine responsibility.
I have no way into this conversation.
Well, you can always pick Peter.
I don't know shit about anything the Bible.
Peter's the one that the Heaven's Gates.
First pope, right?
That's wonderful.
He's the one that denied Jesus 3 times.
Wonderful.
He also got crucified upside down.
What did the internet say, Bartek?
Interweb.
I checked both, don't worry. And I found comments from YouTube, and I found 2 IMDb reviews.
They better be good.
I was happy with them. They're both 6 out of 10 ones, but we'll get into them. They're a more optimistic 6 out of 10. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
From YouTube, the first comment I've gathered is, "This is the first date my fiancé and I went on ever. 5 years later now, and we are getting married next year.
Thank you,
Our
Timothy Green.
Our first son is gonna be named Timothy Hart."
Excusey.
You know what's really worrisome? I keep making myself not stumble on calling him Tom Green at any point when we've been calling
really?
him Tim Green and Timothy Green. I'm like, don't say Tom Green, don't say Tom Green. This is not Freddy Got Fingered. But go on.
I didn't have that thought at all.
Oh, I've been thinking about it the entire time. I'm like, do not stumble on that name. It changes the meaning of everything. But now at that point where I can.
The next comment has 2 responses.
One of them's from me.
The initial comment is... Oh, I think I know which response you are then. The initial comment is, "No one plays a mom like Jennifer Garner."
It's true.
And the first response is... Wait, what did you just say? What did you say, Ryan?
It's so true.
The first comment is true.
It was me. It was me. I'm the fool.
And the second comment is, "I was gonna say something crude, but seeing as how this is likely a Christian audience, I'll refrain. But she is a beauty!"
Awful man.
It's clearly a Wiccan audience. We already went through this. The Catholic people didn't like it too much.
A bit too Wiccan for my taste.
They did frame it as for my taste or any person of faith's taste.
Good goodness.
Well, God did say Wiccans. No. Apparently, at one point, I don't know.
Jesus probably said it too, because he's such a fucking
But,
tattletale.
let's go on, Bartek.
The next comment is, "I now watch the movie and I legit cried. It's nice, but extremely sad. If you don't cry and don't have a heart."
Did you guys cry?
No.
And the response is,
Grayson, I got some bad news for you. The tests have come back from the lab.
I don't have a heart.
You don't have a heart.
No.
and it's a U just as letter U.
No, you don't have a heart.
And the response to that comment is, "I didn't cry when I saw it. I was 12. I was on a plane. Don't judge me."
Grayson wrote that response.
I've never been 12. Take that back.
How old would you have been when this came out?
2012?
Yeah. The year the Earth died, yeah.
Ryan and I would have been 19.
I think it would have been 17.
17.
Yeah. If it's post-August, 17.
Post-August. Yeah, okay. But continue on.
The last comment I've gathered, also with the response, is, who else screamed when they saw Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Me!
And the response is just one word, nobody.
That's Mitski.
Ooh, that was really mean-spirited. It's like,
was
no
very
one.
mean-spirited.
It's also
nobody.
It's also very untrue because as you scroll down, like those are all comments early on in the chain, in the list.
But then you scroll down and everyone's like screaming.
After a certain point, there are just a bunch of comments from a year or two ago that it's just like, oh my god, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it's just every single comment.
We all love him.
Yep. Now we're up to the IMDb reviews, and I was wrong. Only the first one is a 6 out of 10 review.
The other's a 10.
Oh.
You're not even wrong. The first review is titled The Vidiot Reviews.
Weird. Oh, wait, we've had one from this person before.
Maybe?
No,
have.
I'm telling you, we've had
famous
the
Vidiot.
The Vidiot is the original name for Weird Al's movie UHF.
The Vidiot from
Really?
UHF. It's
Yeah.
what my copy's called.
Yeah, the Australian one's called that. But
Okay.
so Bart's like, I swear we've had the Vidiot before. But go on.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we've
I
had
think,
this
I
guy
think
before.
we've talked about the word Vidiot.
We've
not too long ago.
also had that one that reviews everything via Dolph Lundgren. It's like, I give this many Dolph Lundgrens because he only appeared in the movie one scene or something. But go on,
Would that have been Johnny Mnemonic?
Johnny Mnemonic,
Yeah.
where it's just like this doesn't have
Anyway.
any more Dolph Lundgren. One Dolph Lundgren.
The Vidiot Reviews. This one is from the 5th of December 2012, and it is a 6 out of 10 review.
Oh, so they must have just walked out and seen it.
The Odd Life of Timothy Green. One way to end the recessive baldness gene in your family is to adopt an orphan with a thick, full head of hair. That's the first paragraph.
It's a good tip.
I'm
Adoption isn't easy, but alright.
curious. I'm waiting to see where this goes.
No, that's the end of the first paragraph, Ryan.
Okay, I have
However-
a theory on what that might mean, but go on.
The next paragraph begins with, however, so despite that information, however, the couple in this fantasy got a son with more than hair growing out of him.
Oh.
One night, as they lament their inability to conceive, Cindy, Jennifer Garner, and Jim, Joel Edgerton, craft a list of the qualities their child would have and bury it in the garden. The next morning, 10-year-old Timothy, CJ Adams, appears in their home, covered in mud, calling them mum and dad.
This so far is not really a review so much as it is a synopsis.
Well, they did. Did you hear their review about the hair thing? About more hair.
Recessive hair.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
so that's a part of the review. So take that comment back.
Is that a value judgment though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Instinctively,
Can you prove otherwise?
No. I refuse to.
Instinctively, Cindy bathes the child, whereupon
Instinctively, she bathes the child. Her woman sense takes over,
I was about
and
to say-
she must get the child.
I was about to say,
clean.
as women do. Whenever I see a child, I don't have the instinctive need to bathe them. But any woman, they're just like, bathe
what if?
child.
But what if the child is covered in mud?
Well, then they definitely need to.
Do you think I've like?
I don't. I just think soccer. We should play.
So this person is insinuating that if a father were to see his child dirty, be like, that's fine.
I mean, they didn't bathe him when they took Timothy to the bully's house after the bullies had smeared him with like lasagna and cheese and ice cream. He was still covered in it.
And a cherry on top.
And a cherry on top. But go on. I'm so keen on where this is going.
Instinctively, Cindy bathes the child, whereupon she discovers foliage sprouting from his shins. That's a whole paragraph, by the way.
I'm keen.
That day, 4th, spelt as in like number 4.
Oh, I understood that. 4 days later.
That day, 4th, Timothy's true intentions are slowly revealed.
Sounds menacing.
That's
doesn't it?
also a paragraph. Although it's well-intentioned, the odd life of Timothy Green often slips into schmaltzy territory thanks to the antics of the creepy childless couple. Besides, who needs to wish for a child when there are baby boxes and in brackets, yellow light?
What?
Vidiot reviews the
I don't know
Wait,
what that
what?
means. I don't
What
know.
does that mean?
Okay, I'll give you my theory on the hair thing at the beginning. Now, this is a theory. I have no way to back this up. There's a movie called, like, The Peanut Butter Gang or
Oh,
something.
the Buttercream Gang?
No. The Peanut Butter Solution. The Peanut Butter Solution, where it's about a bunch of kids who like go bald or something accidentally, and they rub peanut butter all over themselves, and they grow a tremendous amount of hair. That's what that movie's about. That's a real movie, and it's actually considered quite a classic for kids of like the 80s and 90s and stuff. So maybe a bit beyond our years, because we are 90s kids in that way that we remember some things from like the very late 90s coherently, but not really. But hit us with the second one. That was just the first one.
Wait, what was the theory, though?
Oh, no, my theory is he's relating it to the peanut butter peanut butter solution. That's like
okay.
literally the only thing I can think of
So
when it turns into receding hairline cured with peanut butter.
You don't have a like yellow light?
Oh, I don't know what the
theory?
fuck that's
I
about.
don't know what that
I
is
said
at all.
I only have a theory for the beginning of that.
Oh, I'm
like
so
I think
sorry.
he's relating it to that.
Who needs to wish for a child when there are baby boxes? In brackets, yellow light.
What?
So-
Oh, does he mean the box they buried? Shit that they buried?
But what does yellow light mean?
I don't know what this person's talking about.
So Bartek, second review, 10 out of 10.
It is, yes.
I nailed it like Christ.
This review is titled Timothy Green - Unchained. It is from...
Excuse
Does he kill his slave masters at the end too? Does he explode the house and ride off on a horse? While the theme song to They Call Me Trinity plays? Oh, Tarantino directed. Go on, I'm very keen. I can't wait for Christoph Waltz's appearance in this movie.
It is from the 5th of January 2013.
That's what it went. Yep, go on. I'm pumped.
And as you know, 10 out of 10 review. This is the best title to review ever, Ryan.
I'm thinking about Django Unchained, but with Timothy Green as Jamie Foxx. And he's just like casually hanging out at a plantation. Go on.
I saw Django and...
Go on. I'm ready. I tell you, I'm ready. My body's ready. My mind's ready. My soul may not be ready yet, but go on. They saw Django and they thought of this.
I saw Django and T. Green in the same week. I'm so...
Oh my god, this is going to be a review for both of them.
No,
God.
I'm so inspired that we can use the skills we have to make things better. Control used to be with a stick, and Timothy shows us the...
Yeah, go on. I'm ready. Grayson's ready now. You got up out of his seat. You were kind of snoozing for a bit, but then that woke us all up. Go on. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Control used to be with a stick, and Timothy shows us the path to happiness is a multi-vectored route. Kill them with kindness is a strategy, also with a cherry on top. That's the first paragraph.
Bartek, just so I can prepare myself, how many paragraphs are there?
To be fair, there's only 2.
Oh, thank
We're pretty much like 40% of the way through.
Excellent, wonderful.
Okay, so Grayson's ready now. Grayson, you ready?
Oh, absolutely.
FAB. So, okay.
FAB?
Thunderbirds.
That's a reference to the other guest who had the Diarese reference as well.
Thunderbirds, FAB.
Oh, of course.
Famous catchphrase, FAB.
Yeah, totally.
No one knows what it means, but FAB.
Oh, totally.
I'd like
Fab.
to see a TED Talk with Tarantino and Hedges about pathways to entertainment.
I would love that too.
Do I think Timmy Green will ever earn what Django does? No, but it should. IMHO. We think the Civil War and all its death was needed to end slavery, but it's just not true. Many nations ended slavery without any war at all. Solving your problems without violence almost sounds un-American, but exceptional us does not mean everyone else is a demon to be demonized. A gentle, great movie. ... You could kick the girl in the head and become best friends forever.
Oh, we're still reviewing Timothy Green? I thought we were on Django. I'm sorry, I got lost.
Time is short, but everybody has the right not to be killed. IMHO. I choose the green way and tread on kings. And it ends in brackets SIC.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Well, evidently, since
I take back anything I said about the Vidiot's review. That one makes fucking complete sense now. I'm soz
Well,
to
right.
the Vidiot.
I don't know if you heard, but the last thing in it is the in brackets SIC. So that means that it's a direct quote from something.
Oh, I imagine it is. Maybe from Django. I just don't remember.
Choose the green way and tread on kings. But where are the baby boxes? Yellow light.
No, that's not in it. You're just adding that, but I wish it was.
Well, no, it's
so,
done. I'm
thank
done.
you very much, Bartek. Grayson, a pleasure, as always,
Thank
to have your poignant views and you be shocked at more of my life story being unfolded in front of you.
I'll admit I haven't heard of the slave day thing.
Oh, man, you want to hear more of my Kempsey House stories? Oh, boy.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, they're pretty great. But we don't have enough time.
Save it for Gorbachat.
Gorbachev. Bartek, a pleasure.
Pleasure,
Grayson,
Ryan.
you guys can find us on the social medias of Facebook and Twitter, Spit and Polish Presents. We have an email in case you want to email us for any kind of requests or clarifications or questions or whatever. That is...
spitandpolished@gmail.com.
You can be cool as well and rate us on whatever podcast platforming sites available allow you to rate and review us.
iTunes for one.
Well, that's apparently called Apple Podcasts now. I mean,
my
we're in the
mistake.
fast lanes now. Times, they are changing.
You can also
As
leave
Gorbachev
us,
once said.
You can also leave us YouTube comments where you
We
say
have a
the
YouTube.
word dog in Indonesian.
Oh, cool. We have a YouTube that's going pretty popular. Grayson, you'll be proud to know that one of our most viewed podcasts on YouTube is The Boy Next Door.
Oh, really?
That has you.
I remember almost nothing from that one.
You
remember
thought
the pumpkin thing.
You remember pumpkins? You also called one of the teachers the Wolverine Man because he was super buff.
No,
I
you call him
really?
Beefcake.
Oh,
wasn't
and
it?
Beefcake. You called him Beefcake.
That doesn't sound
And-
like me.
No, you did. And
so
you also
strange.
called the kid Lego Hair Boy because he had the hair of a Lego man, apparently.
We actually rewatched that movie the other week.
It was great.
Why?
We thought of you when watching it because, Grayson should have been here. But until next time, listening people, remember to be kind to each other, or we will beat you with that stick that review was talking about. And you don't want that. You don't want Spit and Polished Unchained.
That's not cool.
And if any of
Cool
you...
spelled with a K, or
No.
then it's cool spelled with a C.
And if any of you listening are the people that stole that shipment of pencils that we were meant to get, you better watch yourself.